guilty of crime.
And we're back. Lady for Justice is kicking it off with One Guilty of Crime membership. Thank you. Please thank her if you receive that. And Tracy coming in with a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much for getting that kicked off. Guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I am your host, Jay, with Guilty of Crime. If you're new here, make sure that you subscribe, hit all notifications, and hit that like button. All right, come on in. I was just talking about Crime Con behind the scenes, so I'm getting excited for that. However, I'm not gonna say anyone's business, but I want to just say a prayer for Patricia. And why? She's the beautiful person that put the party together and doing the most. Just let's say a prayer for Patricia, and thank you guys for everybody that helped Baby Guilty to her goal for the Apex run. If you know, you know. I obviously couldn't put it out to the public because I'm not going to have people knowing where my little girl's school is. But for those of you that are Crime Crew family, friends like fam, and you guys know me and I share stuff with you, thank you guys. I appreciate you so very much. It helps the school and it helps Baby Guilty. All right. Thank you. Prayers for Patricia, please. Allie, what's up? Drinking some matcha with berry. My drink is the yellow Red Bull edition, the see-through edition. All right. How's everybody doing? Yeah, Patricia NY, say a big prayer for her. She's just going through a lot, as all of us do. Again, I'm not going to say anything except for prayers for Patricia. All right, Baby Guilty. Yes, she's so excited. I can't wait. Yes, thank you. My Mama Pearl says, thank everyone for helping Baby Guilty. She's pretty excited about this. Flojo, my guy. If you guys could drop his link. He's always so thoughtful. And I did get your email. I can't wait to pull it up. Lady for Justice also emailed me to get your book. Oh, I am. I got you, Lady for Justice. It's on the list because I haven't got my books yet. When they come in, I'll be able to sign them and send them out. All right, everybody. Marcy just became a member. You've been here for a long time, my friend. Thank you. I'm going to help her. Please let Baby Guilty know. Oh, you're okay, Sadie's mama. You're good. We all love you, and that is just, there's only a few people that I trust with my personal life, and you're one of them, so don't worry about it. Wait, Jay, your book? Yes, I wrote a book. I'm a lot of things, but yes, I wrote a book, and the book is, I don't know, what would you guys say it was? It's about me, but it's also funny and cynical. Yes, if you guys want to drop the link for Heather to take a look at my book, I dropped the price recently by $10. I'm gonna be signing things, etc. Jax. Anyone Jay recommends, here I go. How you doing, everybody? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping Flo Joe's link there. He's an awesome guy. Just all around. I was listening to you. Was it last night or the night before? I don't know. I enjoy your late night streams, Flo Joe, and I enjoy that you're just mellow and chill, and you tell it like it is. So keep it up, brother. I really want to see you succeed, and I want to go down to LA if there is a case, if there's a trial in the David case, I want to go. All right, guys, welcome. This is a big episode today. Now, I know we don't have a lot of people. Everyone's probably talking about everyone's probably talking about Nancy Guthrie today. But first things first, Tanner Horner got the death penalty today, guys. Now, it's not like it's something that we should celebrate. All right, it's not that yay, celebrate the death penalty. However, Tanner Horner brutally took little is it Ashley? I want to say the right name. Took her life brutally, and they recorded it. They got the audio of it, guys. They gave him the death penalty today. Signed, sealed, and delivered. All right. I'm just Tanner Horner, justice for that little angel, Athena. Thank you. I can't remember all the names that I cover. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it. Athena. All right. Yes, I will meet you. I'm from down south, so I'm not a newbie to there. Yeah, bedtime Flojo and Melissa. I do see you, my friend. I do see you. I had your comment posted. I see you. All right. Thank you. Thank you for refreshing my memory. I swear, if I don't write things down, I can't remember it. There's too many things coming in and then pushing their way out. Thank you. Justice for Athena. All right. And if you guys want me to cover that, I'd be happy to cover that tomorrow. We did an episode on it, like almost a 3-hour episode. So I'll put up a poll tomorrow. How about that? Inquisitive P says just because you love me, just admit it. Come on. All right, we're the same, Jay. If I didn't write it, yeah, it didn't happen. And I know that it's hard. I do that to Tiff all day long. I'm like, Tiff, did you send me? She's like, I already sent that to you. I did that last week, girl. What the fuck? Anyway, I'm still waiting on an answer from the judge. Okay, prayers to you, and I really do hope that it goes your way. Let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. Send me an email. Get a hold of me. All right? You guys want me to cover it? Yeah, that case is horrible. But the best thing about it was the fact that he got the death penalty. No, anything. It barely took a few hours, and they said death penalty. That's it, and you're done. Cuffed him up and walked him out, and he deserves it. All right? Yeah, I drive my girl Tiff crazy, man. Sorry. All right, guys. Justice for Celeste Rivas. We have not. Okay, so we're gonna get heavy into the case today. Inside the David case, the smell, the timeline, the dismemberment. The families are finally speaking out. What are they saying? And what the heck what did David do with Celeste's body for at least that week? Right? So we're gonna go over some stuff because there was a week or maybe even 2 that Celeste had been dead, right? And then her body was somewhere. We don't know. We don't know what David did with it. We don't know what he planned to do with it. We don't know what he was fantasizing about in his head. But what we do know is that he executed that with Celeste Rivas Hernandez. All right. And here's the thing. He didn't need to. Nobody needs to do that, obviously. What's up, Edith? Good to see you, my friend. Welcome. Okay, so it never needs to happen, right? I wish I could read that. It never needs to happen. Nobody ever needs to do that. Get a divorce, right? Put your hands out and say, okay, I made a mistake. I'm an idiot guy that was homeschooled, and I dated this younger girl. I got I captivated by this younger girl. When we met in real life, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. Give me my time and we'll move forward. Nope, can't do that. How about we date or we rape that girl and mess her life up, and that one, and then have a bunch of CSAM on my phone, and then I'll take the life of the girl that I've been grooming and ruining the rest of her life, so she doesn't have anything left to live. Why don't I just do that? Let's do that. That sounds good. So that's why we're talking about the families today. Guys, did you know that the age of consent ranges from 16 to 18, depending on the state? And just last generation, just a generation ago, it was very typical and very normal for a 16 or 17-year-old to date a 23, 24-year-old. But as time changes, we start to see that those people, those girls or boys are children and they can't consent. So the age of consent is 16 in many states, including Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Connecticut. You can see all those up there. There's a lot. Then you got the age of consent at 17, which is Colorado, Illinois, Louisiana, Missouri, New Mexico, Texas, which is where David could have said he was. Either way, right? He was going back and forth in Utah. And then age of consent in California. And 18 in California, Arizona, Delaware. You guys see what I'm saying. Some states also have a close-in age exception, which allows minors to close in the age to each other and legally consent. But they don't want adults engaging with minors. So in the U.S., general consent is as low as 14. However, a few states have close-in age or Romeo and Juliet exceptions that may allow a 14-year-old to legally engage in sexual activity only with another minor close in age, not an adult. All right. And so the breakdown there's states where a 14-year-old may also legally consent only within close in age limits. Okay. So, you guys see Iowa here is 14, which makes the consent with partners no more than 4 years. 14, no more than 4 years in Colorado, Maryland, Indiana. You guys get what I'm putting down. You guys hear what I'm saying. This didn't need to happen at all. Number one. All right. Yeah. Age of consent was also much lower back then, and women had children much younger. They also got married much younger, and people died younger. All right. But the bottom line is that this didn't need to occur. And I believe it was a wild fantasy. And guys, when I tell you this, I'm going to get deep into this today. Not only am I telling you about the parents, but we're going to talk about the family members for both sides, what they're saying, what they're doing. David's brother is not even pictured in here, and he's now coming out as an artist. You can't make this stuff up, all right? Now, remember, just a week or so ago, his brother put out a statement. David's brother put out a statement saying all pedos should die or something to that effect. Now he's coming out with his music career, and it's headed toward emotional and sexual. As a matter of fact, one of the songs is called Sex. It's just really, it's wild. You can't make this stuff up. Celeste Rivas Hernandez family speaks out. Both families say they didn't know. Both families say they never met. But something's not right. And with the Burke family also filed paperwork because they put a dissenting opinion and a habeas corpus. All right. They applied for a dissenting opinion, which is basically to support the family, your family, and a habeas corpus. We'll go over that. It's basically to keep their name good in the public and keep themselves from being frivolously arrested for not testifying. All right. So we will get to that for sure. All of it today. I also am going to show you the video where David blows up he says, I just pooped twice. They smelled the smells. But guys, now that we understand when Celeste died, we're closer into that time frame where Celeste died. It's easier to now say, damn, look at that video. That was a month after he already had dismembered her. Oh, dang, that was the same day they alleged it's all filling in now. All right, good to see you guys. My mods, Kel and Holly, my girl Tiff, Mama Pearl, Marcy, big hugs, big hugs. All right, so I'm going to say that to say this. Now, let me put this up real quick while I tell you what's going down. All right, what's going down. There's a lot in this case. So, listen, the investigation into the death of, why do they say that? That's weird. They say 21-year-old Celeste Rivas. continues it. I don't know why they said that. That's AI for you. Okay, the investigation does continue and court will continue. We're going to find out a date when David will be back in very soon. All right. So as all of this is occurring and David was rising, this was his chance. Rising, his one chance to rise above and be what he dreamt of. But instead, he dreamt of indescribable pain, is what the family calls it. All right. So we're going to get into the statement in Rolling Stone where Celeste's father, Jesus Rivas, said the family's in shock and they call it indescribable pain as they await for the answers about what happened to their daughter. Now, allegedly, they didn't come to the last court hearing because it was too much. Once they had to hear about the head and the head and the torso and the limbs and all of the sex stuff, that the CSAM, they said it was too much. So her dad also directly rejected online rumors claiming that he received money or had any prior contact with David, which I think might kick him in the ass, guys. He quote unquote said, I've never had any contact with this guy, and we haven't received any money from him or anyone in his family. All right. So I hope he thinks twice before he puts a statement, because he can be charged for that. Now, the family also thanked investigators and emphasized their focus on justice for Celeste. But we've got the Burke family, right? The Burke family is David Burke, obviously, D4vd. It's the Burke family. His brother's not pictured there. I'll pull it up in a minute so you can see who I'm talking about. And his younger brother launches a music career. And he kind of looks like David, but he's like a darker version. So there's the Burke family. All right. Now, they've been releasing things through their attorney, Kent Schaefer. David's parents said they're sad and they're disappointed about their son's arrest, but they believe that he's fully innocent. According to their attorney, the family was in Texas dealing with grand jury subpoenas when they learned about the arrest. The Burke family also hasn't issued any direct personal statements to the family or commented publicly about the Celeste Rivas case or had any contact with Celeste's family. All right. But they did put out these documents, and it's like, why are you putting out these documents? Why? It's not an actual dissenting opinion, because a dissenting opinion typically has to come from a judge. But what they're doing with this dissenting opinion is they're trying to put a public statement out and rule or rebuttal against the statements that are against them and against their son. All right. So, but I'll show you the paperwork later. Also, they filed a habeas corpus application, and that is so that they can't frivolously basically be arrested. They have to be held with some charges, or their attorney can file. Now, none of these are, I don't know how far actually these went. I don't know. I have the date on these filings, but I don't know how far they've gone or what they've done. If you know, Flojo, you're welcome to tell us a backstory. Wait, who's here? You're not feeling good? Prayers for you. If you should go lay down, though, if you don't feel good. I would be laying down if I wasn't doing this. All right, so we need justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Both sides are talking. Both sides are working with an attorney and speaking through an attorney. Indy Isham, good to see you, my friend. I love the old gray goat. I just love the name. Millie, good to see you. Hey, it's been a while. Good to see you. Trotter Daughter. I love your guys' names right now. All right, so look, guys, there's a lot. I just told you a whole bunch of stuff. All right, so let's focus on the family statements first. That way, if that's all you came for, then we can do everything else after. But it's going to get a little bit triggering and tough, right? Hard topics today, trigger warning. What's up, Miss Dizzle? All right, so let's quickly start with the elusive Burkes. When I say elusive, they are elusive. They're doing things in a way that most families wouldn't. And I believe that's because they have knowledge of the law, et cetera, et cetera. So we're talking about the Burks right now. And we got David's younger brother that put out a statement a couple weeks ago or so that said basically pedos should die, right? That's his statement. Now, on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 2026, his younger brother launches his music career and he releases the music called Sex. That's it. That's the name of the title is Sex. Now, he kind of looks like just a darker version of David. And I'm not sure where he's going with this or how it's going to go down, but that's his brother. We've seen his brother, Caleb, pictured, and he knew about Celeste Rivas. So when he would go on tour with David and Celeste, we've had pictures of those. He had to have known her age, in my opinion. However, now he's saying pedos should die. And that I agree with. Maybe not die. Maybe just shoot it, just double barrel, shotgun, just blow it off. All right. Maybe that. Maybe just, yeah. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. And I hate to think how many I lost in 76 years. Okay. All right. So that's his brother. You did not see in the picture earlier. And it's just weird because Caleb Burke is jumping into what they call the family biz by dropping his original music. Guys, it's all about sex and love. Now, this is all while David's locked up facing murder charges. It's the weirdest timing. Earlier this month, Caleb opened up on social media under the name of Kara Kova, but he calls himself Kova, which is an aspiring singer. He posted 2 songs. One's called Imaginary Love and the other one's called Sex. It's on Spotify and Apple Music. All right. It basically just sounds like David's stuff, in my opinion. Now, much like David's music, he talks about young romance and the emotions that come with it. Caleb, though, is 20 years old and he previously has performed live with his brother David, and he used the stage name CVLEB for Caleb, using a similar style as his brother. I'm not going to play this music. I don't know if it's monetized. It's not worth it to me. It's not even good. But just know if you want to go look for Karakova and a 20-year-old talking about sex while his brother is, being ripped apart for ripping apart, literally, Celeste Rivas, well, then go ahead. All right. There's several posts, posts and short music videos, I guess, on David's on TikTok and Instagram. So back in 2024, when Caleb was interviewed by Spotify, it was for a short documentary about David, and he spoke about living with his famous sibling. You guys can go check that out there if you want. We're not getting into that today, but we are going to start talking about the family. Caleb's in the family. That's his brother, and he lives in Texas with his parents, or David's parents, Colleen and DeWood Burke. All right. Now, they were both summoned to appear before the grand jury investigating the Celeste Rivas case, but prosecutors were unsuccessful in getting them to testify. Nonetheless, David was still arrested on April 16th for the most harshest charges that you can in California, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Okay, let's continue. So we're still talking about this family, and then I just got to kind of keep it straight. I know, how original, right? I think they say he's 20, but if he's 18, that's fine. Either way, it sounds like he's not supporting his brother on this or entertaining any of this, and I hope he sticks to that. I'm not saying turn on your brother, but F that dude. And it's just, there's no talent there. Maybe he'll find his stuff. I don't wish anything bad because it's his brother. But hey, let's take a look at what the parents are saying. The parents are saying he's innocent. After his arrest in the murder investigation, the singer's family say they're sad and disappointed, but they support him. All right. Now, I wish we had time to do the backstory today because I am going to do a backstory. My goodness. When I say narcissistic psychopath, we got to add more things to the end of that. All right. Agreed. Agreed. Another talented, not sociopath. And I hope not. I hope we're not just breeding those guys. I mean, it looks like that's what he's trying to do. It looks like he's trying to do the switcheroo. All right. So the family says he's innocent. Right. David's parents are publicly defending their son following the singer's arrest in Los Angeles. According to the statement, the family attorneys made DeWitt and I think I'm saying it right. DeWitt and Colleen Burke are standing firmly behind their 21-year-old son and singer, David. The parents are sad and disappointed that David was arrested. However, they fully stand behind him and believe he is innocent, according to Kent Schaefer, their attorney. They fully support him. David, or D4vd, whose name is David Anthony Burke, was taken into custody. As you know, this says Thursday, but we saw the arrest. The authorities went to the other house that he had, and he was held on suspicion with connection to the death of 14-year-old Rivas. All right, now law enforcement knew this at the time, guys, and that's what makes it sad because she was missing. Law enforcement came to his house and said, this girl's missing. And David said, I've seen her before. I met her once, but I didn't know she was 14. And then 2 days later, she shows back up at school, and then later she goes missing. Now, she wasn't really missing because she was dead at that point, all right? Now, at that stage, there weren't any formal charges filed at all. Law enforcement have indicted. They plan to present the case, as we see. Now they're doing all that. We're fast forwarding. David's legal team has also pushed back against the allegations. They're emphasizing that the arrest does not equate to the guilt and insisting the evidence will ultimately clear him. Guys, is there anybody in chat that thinks that David's going to be cleared? Put a 1 in chat if you think there's any chance David's going to be cleared. And there are some people. There are David Burke supporters. I want you to realize that. Okay? So now we're going to hop over to the other. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you the dissenting opinion real quick and the habeas corpus. Let's do that. And then I'll hop over to the other family's details. I don't see any ones in chat. How did I know there would be no ones? I mean, I just can't even understand. I can't comprehend what they're talking about. All right, so here's the first one. Well, I'll just go through this real quickly. This one I think is like the most, and thank you, Flojo, for sending this over. So there's 3 documents here, and this was the last one. Ex parte, DeWitt, Burke, and Colleen, applicants on the application for, it says right of habeas corpus, which earlier I was saying if someone's arrested and held without charges, they or their attorney can file an application for a right of habeas corpus, and the judge then orders the jail or state to explain the legal basis for holding them. Now, you already know that if there's not sufficient evidence, then the judge has to release you. They did that with Neo. They arrested Neo because he wouldn't testify, and they're fighting against this. All right, the Burkes are saying that the subpoenas that gave rise to the writ application in this case required attendance at court, and it has passed. So they didn't go to court. You guys know that they have not been arrested like Neo, and this is the paperwork they're filing. So they're saying here's the underlying problem. The California prosecutor seeking to subpoena the residents of Texas submitted a subpoena to secure the attendance of David's parents, the applicants. Now, along with that subpoena, the California prosecutor also included information from a California grand jury establishing the materiality of the witness, but it's under seal. Now, this was just put out on the 30th of last month. This is like 6 days ago. All right. I don't know if it went to the 31st but this is the 30th. Now, the Texas prosecutor that received the subpoena redacted the grand jury information, presumably because of the Texas law that requires grand jury proceedings to be secret. However, the Texas prosecutor submitted the unredacted information to the trial court without providing the unredacted information to the applicants or their attorney. Here's the solution, they say. The prosecutors from both states need to coordinate on how to include information, establishing the materiality of the witnesses from the sources other than information that was discovered in the grand jury proceedings. All right. Information from an investigating officer, for example, would not need to be submitted under a seal or redacted. If the prosecution does that, this issue will not repeat. If they don't do that, then we can address this issue at the next round of subpoenas. Subpoenas meaning, hey, you got to get in here and testify what you know about your son and whatever we ask you. All right. Just like they did with Neo, they arrested him, they detained him, he talked, and they let him go. David's parents don't want to talk, and they don't want to get arrested for not talking. So right now, there's nothing for the original right of habeas corpus to remedy. This was filed April 30th, 2026. They basically, with these thoughts, I joined the court's order denying leave to file. All right. They don't want to be arrested. They do not want to go to jail for not testifying against their son like Neo did. All right. I hope I'm not boring you guys to death. Are you good? I don't normally, I would normally do like the lawyer, but I hope I'm describing these documents okay. Are you guys understanding me? Is everybody okay? Put a 2 in chat if you guys are understanding what I'm saying. I just want to make sure I'm not saying something wrong or botching it. Also, Chantel, did you see my post on the community wall? I did not, but you're a member for 6 months. Shout out to you. When did you put that? I'd love to see it. And then we've got Midnight Lace. Thank you, Jay, for creating an inclusive, unbiased space for everyone. Big hugs, Midnight Lace. You're very welcome. Indiisha, member for 12 months. Yes. Hey, Jay. Good to see you, my friend. Big hugs. Big hugs. Little Miss Sharon just gifted a Guilty of Crime membership. If you received that membership, please thank her. And I thank you as well. Okay, so we're good. I'm not. Okay, thank you. I just don't normally tackle these. And I only had about maybe 5 minutes to look at them because Flojo just gave them to me. Okay, all right. Just don't want to put my foot in my mouth. Okay, so listen, here's the ex parte of DeWood and Colleen. Now this, I said, what is a freaking dissenting opinion and why did they file it? Well, they can't file what I just said, a dissenting opinion. They can't. The judge is the only one that can actually put out a dissenting opinion. Yeah, if a judge puts a dissenting opinion, it is written by a judge who disagrees with a court's ruling. Now, the Burkes particularly, obviously, are not judges, and there was zero ruling to dissent from. However, their statement is better described as, rather than a legal document, a public dissent, a rebuttal, a defense, a lined declaration, and a family statement of support. They're saying, we support our son and we're not going to talk. And you're not going to arrest us because we don't talk. So there. Okay? We're not going to talk. We're not going to go to this court hearing and tell you anything. And if you arrest us, you better have solid evidence of what the crime was. So they're making sure that it's not another Neo situation. All right. Happy Cappy. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, this is way more than I bargained for. David and Stephen Stern can share a cell, except they're in the wrong states. So much corruption. I agree. All right, but listen here. Let's take a look at this. So they're basically putting out a public statement. The applicants here are DeWood and Colleen Burke, in Texas, residents ordered by a California court. They were ordered, as you know, to be a witness before a California grand jury. Now, a majority of the court concludes that these cases are now moot and denies their application. I agree with Judge Yeary and would instead conclude that the issue presented is capable of repetition, yet evading review, and thus falls squarely within the mootness exception. I love that. That's a moot point. Okay, and then it just says, I'm not going to read every document, all of these, but I write separately to recognize the need occasionally acute by virtue of timing, to address and refine our precedent on the evading review. All right. And then they go into all the legal stuff where there's an issue. If it's going to repeat again, they're covering themselves. All right. Leaving the lower courts alone to resolve the procedural and substantive issues involved in these matters without the prospect of governing jurisprudence presents a serious constitutional problem. Right. So they don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want to get arrested. They don't want to do any of that. They do not want to cooperate, and they're making a stand. All right, last document. Yeah, moot. It said moot. A moot point. Your point is moot, Flojo. All right, so last document, and thank you again for sending it. This was an application for right of habeas corpus from the Burkes. All right, DeWeed and Colin. You're going to know this. You're going to get to know their name. Now, this application for the right of habeas corpus was filed in court as Texas residents, okay? And we already talked about the habeas corpus, but now they're going through the timeline of events, right? They want to make sure that they're solid and they're not going to be locked up and thrown the key away until whatever happens. So they go into this application with the order of events that appear before the California grand jury that came out on February 11th. All right, so January 15th, Cali Superior Court issued a certificate for applicants to appear. Now, they were supposed to go on February 11th. The summons was supported by a petition like they did with Neo. All right. Then January 18th, the District Court of Waller County, Texas, signed a show cause order for applicants to appear. 2 days later, the District Court in Texas issued the show cause order. And then between the 2 days, January 20th to the 22nd, applicants apparently retained counsel. They got a lawyer, right? They got a lawyer. I said, I'm not talking. I'm not going against my son. We support him, and you're not going to arrest me. And if you do, you better have evidence. February 2nd, a follow-up hearing occurred in the district court, and the conclusion of which the district court served applicants with a summons to appear before the California grand jury on February 11th. Then February 3rd, the applicants filed an original application. I believe that was the first one I showed you, and that was a right of habeas corpus in the district court. All right, 3 days later, the district court denied the original application for right of habeas corpus. So we've got two of them. All right. Then we've got February 6th denied. February 6th, an application for right of habeas corpus was filed again. Then the 9th, the First Court of Appeals denied the original application. And then an original application for habeas corpus was filed again in Texas. All right. A day later, the Court of Criminal Appeals stayed the proceedings, sealed the record, and ordered the district court to respond to certain questions as noted below. February 11th was the day they should have appeared. Applicants would have had to appear before California grand jury. But for this court's stay, the district court responded on the 20th. As mentioned on February 9th, the original application for the right of habeas corpus was filed in this court. On the same day, just 2 days before the applicants were to appear before the California grand jury, we also received applicants' emergency motions to stay the order compelling applicants to appear before the California grand jury and their motions to seal the records in this court. Now, on February 10th, the court granted both motions, and they ordered the district court to respond to the following three questions. Number one, whether the notice issue is moot. Yes, moot. Number two, if the notice issue is moot, then whether it is capable of repetition, yet evading review. And number three, if the notice issue is capable of repetition, yet evading review, then whether the witness's due process rights were violated by the district court, making its findings in the Article 24.28, hearing with unredacted information, while not providing that information to the applicants. So they're saying they're asking these questions and they're using these legal terms to keep them where they want to be. They don't want to go to court before a grand jury. They're not going to. They don't want to testify and they don't want to give anything. All right. So we see the end of this in the foreseeable future, unless the situation is capable of repetition while notice, issue will continue to evade review. All right. So finally, the district court reviewed the case on the merits and found the petition of attendance supporting the California certificate was sufficient, with or without the redacted information, to show that the witness are material and necessary to California grand jury's inquiry. Damn. So when are they going to go back? Do you know, Flojo? I don't want to read all of these pages, but I'm just curious. The second they got a bunch of different outcomes here, and I don't know any of them just yet. Because the court summarily denies leave to file, review of these issues will only needlessly delayed. I would file and set today to determine the notice issue in these cases because the court does not. I respectfully dissent. All right. They're trying to fight legally and they're trying to fight back and they don't want to testify. And, I really can't blame them. I mean, would you want to testify against your child? Probably not, but you probably would anyway. We have 222 people in chat. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. All right, now we're going to get into the Rivas family a little bit more. Let's start with this clip. All right, they released a statement, and you guys saw the picture a minute ago.
I'm Pat Harvey.
I'm Rudabeh Shabazi.
Well, we start with new details on the alleged killing of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
Her death certificate has been updated, leading her family to release a new statement.
And CBS LA's Hunter Sowers is live with that information and a new timeline of what singer David allegedly did before and after the killing. Hunter?
Thank you.
Pat Rudabeh, certainly another day of difficult updates for the loved ones of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. We are learning, as well as that timeline, that her family is no longer going to be making any public statements in the outcome of this trial as it moves forward. It comes as we are seeing.
Now, I believe that they're not going to make any more public statements, and I believe that they got an attorney because of all of these accusations. And I will definitely show you the accusations in a minute for the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case, right? They could absolutely be locked up if they were taking money from David. If there are any substantial amounts coming into their account from David or anybody, they could be charged with trafficking, my friends. All right. Boycott anyone who supports him. Period. Celeste will not be forgotten. I agree. And Flojo, thank you. Flojo says essentially the documents that I just read are saying at the end of it, since David has been arrested, there's no need to testify and they are no longer needed for the grand jury. All right. So the parents are covered. They've lawyered up and we've heard. Now we're listening to the second side. I know. I have to agree with that.
Key updates to her death certificate. Changes to the death certificate for Celeste Rivas Hernandez reveal another layer of heartbreak for her loved ones. The documents update her cause of death to homicide. And in the section listing whether she was pregnant, it's been changed from its initial no to now unknown.
So it's heartbreaking. I mean, in any case, but especially the 14-year-old.
It comes a day after documents from the prosecution allege David Burke bought 2 chainsaws, a body bag, and other tools to kill and dismember her body, attempting to keep her blood from spilling by using a blue plastic pool.
He was not smart about it. It's just like, it's very traceable stuff. Who orders a single body bag on Amazon?
Steve Fisher is a private investigator hired by the homeowner who was renting the house David was living in when Celeste's body was found. After the LAPD executed their search warrant, Fisher says he found a chainsaw and a burn cage in the home.
I want to know what his family is thinking now that they found all the CSAM, right? Because that's shocking. You go to court for, let's say you go to court for a traffic violation and you get there And instead of getting charged for just the traffic violation, you get some really nefarious charge, that something nefarious that you did, right? It says you did or was on your phone. And so many people are saying, why did he still have that stuff on his phone? All right, FloJo TV, Nisa says, I saw you at BJ's and Rabbit's Lives are cousins. That's cool. Y'all more have an online community instead of being a weird competition. This channel seems great. That's exactly what we're doing, Nisa. We are a community of one. There's no jealousy. We lift each other up. Why would we do anything different? All right. Good. Glad they got an attorney. Right. Yeah. We lift each other up here. We're not, we don't walk around with jealousy and all that weird stuff. There's no competition. We're all in our own league. All right. Publicly, they'll say his innocence, but privately, they know he's guilty as hell. I just felt parents were receiving money. Parents, I think, failed her. She is definitely an angel chosen by God in heaven. Thank you. And I agree. All right, let's continue so we can get to the, through all of this.
He says it was photographed by LAPD, but not taken into evidence. David's whereabouts are well documented in the days leading up to and after Celeste was allegedly murdered.
He has her brought to the house, according to prosecutors' murders for that night. On the 24th, he is at a record release party in Culver City.
Also on the 24th, David did a lengthy interview for the Zach Sang Show, promoting his upcoming album, Withered.
What does it mean to be withered?
So the entire aesthetic of this project is returning to the dust. A rose grows from the dirt, and then it also decays back into the dirt.
This interview, allegedly done just hours after Celeste.
I mean, do you see where his mind is? He's going to sit in that cell and be thinking about going back to the dirt. All right. He's talking about, he's got these big ideas and these big, stories that he writes and these characters. And speaking of that, I did not know until I dived deep into this today. You guys might have known this, but people are saying that, remember we talked about, did you think David maybe ate any of the body parts, or maybe he ate the fingers or did something really weird with him? You guys remember that conversation? Well, that conversation needs to be had because I think it's called Yuji Itadori. I don't know how to, Jujutsu Kaisen or Yuji Itadori. I don't know how to say that. He becomes the vessel of an ancient curse, Ryamin Sukuna, after eating one of Sukana's mummified fingers, which contains immense cursed energy. Now, David is completely into the Jujutsu Kaisen wiki and fandom, why does the guy eat the bones, eat the fingers? Well, Sukana's body was split into 20 cursed fingers after his death 1,000 years ago, and each finger holds a portion of Sukana's power. So Yuji eats a finger and Sukuna gets stronger, not Yuji, right? This is what he's all wrapped up in. Yuji becomes the host, allowing Sukuna to manifest. So now I'm wondering, did he do that? Because I'm looking at this jujitsu sorcerers and they want Yuji to consume all the fingers of Sukuna so they can be destroyed with him. I mean, this is all ridiculous to us. But if you go and look at David's Reddit page and the things that he was putting out, it aligns just with this. All right, Yuji later consumes 15 fingers while Sukuna is inside of his body. I mean, this just doesn't even make sense to me. It doesn't make a bit of sense, right? Yeah, why not watch just Pokemon? So now I'm like, did he really eat the fingers? It's really gross, and we've got a lot more. It's maddening and disgusting that this little girl was laying somewhere dead because of David, and he was out doing an interview talking about from the seeds and going back to the dirt. Piece of garbage, pedo.
Would have been killed.
So with this project, the way I made it, the way I'm talking about the themes on this project, the way I'm talking about my emotions and my feelings, it's all returning to the dirt with this. It's like a entire life cycle.
David is also known for hit songs chillingly titled Romantic Homicide. So again, the family releasing a statement today saying the details that have been released in recent days are just so gruesome and difficult that they will no longer be making any public statements. They say, though, they do agree with the steps that the DA is taking to prosecute this case. David Burke is due back in court May 26 for a preliminary hearing.
Okay, so we're what? Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. May 26th is when he's due back in court. This clip just came out either last night or this morning. Yes, I know. I was not speaking English at all. I didn't even understand what I was reading. All right. All I'm saying is the guy might have eaten some fingers. All right. I do want to just throw this up in the middle. We're going to talk about it later, but that foul smell in the house, when I was listening to Flojo and how he talked about the David's car, where he had parked the car in proximity to his bedroom window or the bathroom window, and then I see this and this foul smell in the home. It makes me wonder who really knew about that, and how did he get past this? Because I've got articles and articles and articles from Reddit literally talking about the decomp smell, and they would have noticed because whatever. I mean, I've got some things to note on it, on the whole situation. Now, let me play this real quick, and then I'm going to get back to the Rivas family. I just want you to see what this guy, what? Hold on. It's hard to even hear what he's saying, too, by the way.
Well, you don't mind. Can you put...
Just,
Oh, his nails curling back.
You, bro. I'm looking at your packing, bro. Go
what's up, bro?
I don't even get paid, guys. I'm not even getting paid for this bullshit, bro. This, bro. All y'all dead ass.
Oh. Now, do we make up? Yeah.
AC. Oh, yes, I apologize in advance for the way my bathroom smelled. I took a
I don't care. I just took.
I mean, are you serious that he really said that? And this was after I've showed it before. He's like, I don't care. I just took a shit. She said another one. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. I took 2 shits. I took another one. Guys, this is, I'm 90% sure that this is the smell of Celeste Rivas Hernandez body decomposing in the trunk. And look at how Neo looks at him. I really do think that Neo knows a lot more. And I also saw the statement that he put out. He called David a dickhead, is what he called him. He said, you'll find out more, but David was a dickhead or something like that. Some statement about David. He turned on him. They're sick. They're all sick. Yes. I'm just going to put one more time so you can see. We're going to come back to this. I just want you to see this whole situation. They're smelling more than likely decomp, and he's telling them that he took 2 shits today.
Oh. Now, do we make up? Yeah.
AC. Oh, yes, I apologize in advance for the way my bathroom smelled. I took a
I don't care. I just took it.
Another one? That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. I had to go.
Look at Neo. I just want to know what that face is that Neo's looking at. Like, what is that? What does he know? What has he told the grand jury? What has he told the law enforcement? All right, Celeste Rivas family. Now let's focus on them just for a moment because, again, they are victims as well. No, Celeste Rivas did not get protected in the way that she should, but I do not want to bash this family. If law enforcement comes out at any point and determines that they've done anything nefarious or they didn't do what they were supposed to or they were trafficking, then at that time, you guys are welcome to have your opinions in chat as long as you are not, telling someone what they can say or what they can't, right? You guys can talk about whatever. I'm just going to stick with the family as, hey, Celeste Rivas family says that they have indescribable pain as they reject rumors David paid them. All right. Now, this also is pretty stunning because what parent doesn't meet a man or a woman or a person that your child has been dating for over 2 years, going to Vegas, going to Paris, doing all that. For him to say I never had any contact with this guy, which is Celeste's dad, Jesus Rivas, says in a new statement provided by their family lawyer, Patrick Steinfeld, on May 1st. Again, there's Celeste with the family, her mom, Mercedes, on the left, her older brother, Matthew. We've seen him before. He's very upset about this. And then Jennifer and Celeste, 10 years old, and Dad Jesus. Look at the picture of 10-year-old Celeste Rivas. Can you believe that a grown-ass man, just 1 year later, a grown man, 1 year later after this picture, was grooming this little girl, okay? She literally is a baby. Not only does she look like a baby, but she is a baby, all right? Now, that's what they're both denying it. They're both denying it. Scud Missiles, his family met Celeste. They said no. They said they didn't. That's why they're all hiding behind lawyers. Now, if they make this statement and they lie and they don't have a lawyer and they're not hiding behind a lawyer and saying the things that they should say, they literally can be arrested for knowing something or whatever it may be. Letting the minor be at whatever the charges are in Texas versus California. And that's why, in my opinion, these people are putting out statements with their lawyers. That was a little girl. Yes. Look at that picture. I can't. It makes me mad. All right. So listen, the family of Celeste Rivas is in unfathomable pain and is pushing back on the rumors after prosecutors laid out the chilling account this week of how 14-year-old California girl was allegedly murdered and dismembered by platinum-selling singer David. All right, this is from Rolling Stone. So in this statement Friday, Celeste's father, Jesus Rivas, flatly rejected online speculation that the musician paid the family to gain their trust or silence. He said, I never even had contacts with this guy. We haven't received any money from him or anyone in his family, quote unquote, through their attorney. Now, in his own statement, Steinfeld said Celeste's parents, brother, and sister were left, of course, devastated by the flood of grisly details revealed by prosecutors in the court filing last week or the week before. All right. In the disturbing evidence, you guys know it's disturbing, right? Prosecutors allege that David Anthony Burke stabbed Celeste to death at his Hollywood Hills rental home on April 23rd of 2025 in order to cover up the sexual relationship that he pursued with her when she was, they say 13 and he was an adult, but it started at 11. All right. Now it says, I had the heartbreaking responsibility of informing the Rivas Hernandez family of the horrifying allegations submitted in court that David Anthony Burke allegedly stabbed Celeste and stood by while she bled to death. He then used a chainsaw to cut off her limbs, and then he bought a burn cage with the plan to incinerate the rest of the evidence. All right. He said delivering the news was the most difficult thing that I've had to do in 37 years as a lawyer, though he initially encouraged the family to speak publicly after Burke was charged. Remember, we were waiting. Everyone's got to remember, because Flojo, you were there. I saw Flojo out there in his red shirt all over the news, waiting for the family that never came. Right? They never came. They never said anything. So because of the shocking details is why they're saying that they were so shocked and they couldn't gather the strength to hold that press conference. There are no words to express the indescribable pain the family's experiencing. They still have bills to pay and jobs they have to go to. All they want is time to grieve and heal. All right? So there we go with the families. We're getting that sorted out. I also am going to show you a couple of Reddit posts, just because, man, I could do a whole episode literally running from Reddit. Now, this is a Celeste Rivas Hernandez Reddit. I also did the David Reddit, and I didn't realize that David's page originally, there's a D4vd, and then there's a D4vd2, which we're going to get to. But the D4DV, the original David, he was moderating his own Reddit thread and deleting. You remember the video where he says, or where Celeste says, "Oh yeah, you mean like raping other kids? Oh, whoa, delete it all." That was what he was doing on his Reddit stream. And if you were to go on there now, you will see nothing before 8 months ago. 8 months ago. If you go back 7 months, that's when allegedly he had killed her, etc., etc. 8 months is where it starts. And people are talking so much crap. You're blocked. You're blocked from the day. I was just in there and I was like blown away. I was blown away at the things people were saying. Wow. And to be blocked on Reddit, that's hard to do, my friend. Kudos to you. Reddit has almost no guidelines. So for you to get that, bravo. Dark Scale Creature says, so at 11, she had an ex-boyfriend. If that's true, yeah, we talked about that. I didn't start dating until I was 16. Right. Exactly. 110%. There shouldn't even be an ex-boyfriend at 11, although children do talk like that, guys. Watch TV. Watch the shows your children are watching. Even cartoons nowadays push relationships on kids to have boyfriends and girlfriends. You can watch a middle school show, right? Like something where they're in 6th grade, 7th grade, and they're having girlfriends and boyfriends. All right. So just, yeah. Agreed. All right. Agreed. All right. Let's take a look at the Celeste Rivas thing real quick. Her Reddit. And I just wanted to introduce you to this. If you want to go look. Yearbook pictures of Celeste. God, she's a baby. She's a baby. And remember, David showed a yearbook picture to law enforcement when they came to the house. The law enforcement emailed David's manager, and said, I think that the artist you're managing is in this case of this missing girl. And 2 days later, she shows up back at school, back at home. All right. Gus was a family friend who knew Celeste at birth, grapes her for years. The family should have known that. Yeah, I haven't got into the whole Gus thing, but we can certainly do that. Yeah, boys, I know. At that age, I was riding bikes, playing tetherball. Guys, I didn't even know. It had nothing to do with gay, straight, nothing. I was just a kid. I didn't want any of that. And you're right, Deb. All right. I was playing with Barbies at 14. Right. But we didn't have instant communication back then where everything was being pushed on you. Yes, I say so cute. And at the same time, it's heartbreaking to even see that picture of her because David showed them a yearbook picture of her. She's a baby. What? I can't even comprehend this. That may be the one that he showed law enforcement. That because there it looks like she's like 7. All right. And then this one's all scratched out. So I'm like, what happened to that? I didn't mean to do that, but hey. That one's all scratched out. I wonder who did that. If she did that, if David did that, or what. All right. So these are yearbook pictures of her, guys, over the years. That is who she was. That's what she looked like. She was a baby. Even if he showed him that one, she is a baby. Look at that. I mean, I can't comprehend. I just can't comprehend the way this went down and how it played out. It didn't need to happen, right? Celeste family in a video. I'm going to show you this real quick, and then we're going to move on to the next Reddit thread, and then we're going to get into what the heck did David do with the body for the week or 2 that he had Celeste or was doing whatever. That body was not dismembered until he had received the pool. Remember, he had to come back from his travel of his opening and his interviews and get his shovel and his pool and his chainsaws. All of that had to come in. All right. Let's see.
Ah, ahí dejaste a la más peligrosa.
¡Muérdelo! ¡Muérdelo!
Ok, es ok.
¡Apúrale!
No quiere.
All right. I just wanted you to just get a little, a little preview of Celeste, who she was, and she was just a child, guys. Just a child, right? Again, I could do a whole episode just from this. There's so many things. And I just showed you this. I just showed you the picture on the freaking front page of the Rolling Stones, but yet they have it edited out here. Really weird behavior. All right. This is a great thread, by the way. There's a lot of things that come in about the case, what happened before, things that we've never heard. Like, I could sit here all day going through these TikToks and seeing the shit that David's saying and she's saying and the words. It all lines up now that we know. All right, so let me pull that down. Guys, thank you for being here. Don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. All right, that helps support the channel. All right, so David, this is D4vd, and the reason it's 2 is because the David one, everything was wiped. Remember, he said, wipe it all. There's nothing before 8 months ago, right? Then you look at this page, and they're saying admitted to sinning days before the body was found in the Tesla on his prayer TikTok. Okay, let's listen to this just for a second. This guy's really having a prayer TikTok and talking about his sin. Now, this is days before they find Celeste's body in the front trunk of the Tesla.
Personally, for me, I used to struggle a lot with lying, and lying is the easiest thing to do. It's the easiest sin to commit. Manipulate your thoughts and continue to plant these seeds that, oh, if you do this, it's so much easier. You have no consequences. You will never have to deal with that part. And no matter what the consequences is, you have to kind of separate yourself from the sin completely and kind of accept what you're doing is wrong.
Accept what you're doing is wrong. Well, listen, dude, you're about to accept what you did was way wrong when you get bent over at that jail without any lube or anything, just dry. All right, Lady for Justice, thank you for gifting another Guilty of Crime membership and Dark Scale. Thank you for, we never get bored with anything you talk about. Member for 1 month. Oh, dear Lord. Help us all. Help us all. One more time. I want to hear this. Sorry.
Personally, for me, I used to struggle a lot with lying, and lying is the easiest thing to do. It's the easiest sin to commit. Manipulate your thoughts and continue to plant these seeds. Plant these seeds that, oh, if you do this, it's so much easier. You have no consequences. You will never have to deal with that part. And no matter what the consequences is, you have to kind of separate yourself from the sin completely and kind of accept what you're doing is wrong.
Well, he's going to have to accept what he was doing was wrong, because guess what? He's not going to get out of there, right? Lying is easy. He should have created that song, because when lying is easy, that shows who you are as a person. Lying is not easy for me because I don't care. I would rather tell the truth. And it's been a practice, right? I'm 46 years old. It's been a practice to tell the truth and just say whatever's the truth. And however you take it, I take however you take it. That's the truth. Sorry, not sorry. Right. But as we go through this, David's friend Asia knew. I know that this, I want to call her names, but I won't. In my opinion, Asia absolutely knew and did nothing. But now she's allegedly in hiding, and she is definitely going to testify against David. All right. Hey, look at this. David's friend knew. She reposted to a post. She found our real Celeste. The real agent stayed quiet. This was 2 days after. Right. So here's the missing. And then, bro, this is my friend's girlfriend. She's talking to this person about her missing. is there a way you can confirm she's 13? And Asia says, what the fuck? You're lying. No way. No way she did not know
you
that.
think there might be a dispute as to...
I'm not going to get into this theory. The theory is ridiculous. We'll probably come across it later, but I think it's ridiculous.
11, currently wrapping up the one and only original Sukuna's finger from Jujutsu Kaisen. And yeah, we about to drink some tea, do some vocal warm-ups. So, 11, currently.
Okay, so this said something about the fact it says the autopsy that her finger was removed. And this is why I started digging into that whole finger thing and eating fingers, because look, that's what they're talking about. The fingers are missing, and he worships the damn anime that he watches to a point where it's not unbelievable to think that he would do that. He eat her fingers.
11, currently wrapping up the one and only original Sukuna's finger from Jujutsu Kaisen. And yeah, we about to drink some tea, do some vocal warm-ups. So, 11.
You see that? It's a Sukuna finger. It's a dismembered finger. And when he says that, guys, I wish I could emulate his face when he says that. His eyes went like this when he talks about the dismemberment and the finger. Oh my God. Did you see that? Yeah, I think Neo did too. I really do. I really do, man. All right, so I can stay on this all day. That literally is him wrapping that bag around Sakuro's finger, which I told you earlier was a withered. That makes sense. Withered tour. It was like a finger that's all mummified. That's the best way I can say it. Mummified. All right. So now we're going to get into what did David do with Celeste's body for that week. After David and Celeste had a fight on April 22nd, 2025, allegedly, he killed her on April 23rd. Then what did he do? What happened during those times and after? Was he eating fingers, mummifying them? Was he making her his personal item? His personal, like, keeping her forever? Anyway, we're going to get in that with Trap More Ross about 11 minutes in, and it's in my description, of course.
With the goal of ruining his life and career. So apparently that text argument took place the day before she died. So then he lured her to his home, brought her there in an Uber, and that's when she stopped using her phone. So at 8:40, that's when David sent an Uber to collect her. She was dropped off at 10:10 p.m. And then the indictment claims that very soon after the arrival, that's when he stabbed her to death and watched while she bled out. I don't know how they know that, but it says David didn't attempt to save her life, didn't call 911. And then he started sending fake texts asking where she was, part of a premeditated plan to cover up the murder because she was already dead. And then he drove to Santa Barbara County in the night. Now, I did a full breakdown yesterday on the Santa Barbara trip, any of the evidence that was gathered there. David's there all night, and he returns home in the early mornings. And he went straight to a radio interview to plug his upcoming album, and he texted Celeste 2 more times that day. Obviously, it went unanswered because she was already...
Thank you, by the way, Foxy, for the Guilty of Crime membership, the 420 in honor of her brother. We definitely miss you when you're not here. And wait, are you going to crime? You're going to CrimeCon, right, Foxy? All right. They're all weird and dangerous. I agree. The weird part, I think, comes from the generation thing that there's a big generation gap we don't quite get down with. Asia, listen, David's friends are cannibals. He's deep in the dark web talking to a guy called King Wendigo on his Discord thing. He told David not to show the knife on stream. And Master Death handcuffed. I believe you. I believe that. 110%. And did Benny Blanco's house, did he go to? Yeah, he did. I saw an interview with him and Benny Blanco, and I think it was at his house, right? I mean, I'm just learning this as I go as well, guys. I did not know who this person was until this happened.
Dead, and he ordered a shovel from Home Depot by Postmates that same day. He drops his album 2 days later, and he's just having a great time, okay? He drops Withered. He stops trying to contact her a day later, all right? Doesn't make any attempt to speak to her again. He buys 2 chainsaws on May the 1st under the fake name Victoria Mendez. He buys a body bag on May the 5th, a blue inflatable pool. These items were sent to his home. He apparently dismembers the body, and he goes to Santa Barbara again on May the 8th, probably to get rid of evidence. He buys a burn cage on July 7th, so he was probably going to burn the body or burn parts of the body.
Yeah, guys, if you guys heard the new what Steve Fisher said, I really think it's just for conversation. I think he's just keeping the conversation going. I absolutely don't believe that. What he said was possible was that Celeste was really going over to see David. He wasn't planning on killing her at all. They got into an argument on the way there. She goes and sees him at 10:10. She gets dropped off. They get in the car and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Santa Barbara." And by 10:30, she runs off because she's mad, and then he ends up killing her in Santa Barbara. All right, they're saying Benny Blanco owns a rural Santa Barbara. Possibly. I don't believe that, though. I think Steve Fisher is literally just reaching for conversation. All right. What the cult talking about this? He made his Discord. He told her the underage girls that she was. Ay, no lube for David. Yes, scuttle missiles. Let's continue. Hashtag no lube for David.
But he realized he probably wasn't able to use that in Hollywood. He drives the Tesla for the last time at the end of July, and they basically believe David was the last person to drive it, and he parked it 400 feet from his home where it was eventually towed, and then the tour would start on August the 5th. He started playing the shows as if nothing had happened, but just over a month later, that's when the body is found in the Tesla. It is a big disaster. I'd love to know what David was thinking when all of this came out. Okay, she was found dismembered in the trunk. They could smell her. She was covered in insects. It is just disgusting. And he kept on performing. He performed in Minnesota. The next day, hit the stage at the Fillmore, kept going with his tour. But then a week later, Celeste's body is identified. Her mother identifies the body and says that she had a body.
Now, I gotta imagine that the body was either kept in a refrigeration area or that the house was kept cool, like really, really cool. All right. So, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, because when he allegedly took Celeste Rivas' life, the next day he was already doing radio interviews and debuting his new, his tour. All right, let's continue. This is just unbelievable. Like, you can't make this up. I wouldn't be able to make this up if I tried.
Boyfriend named David, and basically blows his shit up. But it would take seven whole months, right? His home would be searched on September 17th. That's when they basically found blood in the garage, and they had it worked out for 7 months, right? They identified David having the same.
Again, at 8 months back, if you go to D4vd on Reddit, like he said, wipe everything, get rid of it all. He did.
Shush tattoo on his hand. David would eventually cancel his tour. He scrapped his European and UK shows. His label pumped the brakes on releasing his deluxe album, and then he pulls his bloody shirt merch. Okay, that is insane that he even was selling stuff like this with all of this going on. It is actually diabolical. Celeste Death will be ruled a homicide in December. We wouldn't find out for months, but she was stabbed to death, and they actually knew that. David gets dropped by the label quietly. Okay, Caliucci and others. 21 Savage is not on there, but he also pulled his collab with David. All right. January the 7th, Celeste's passport is found in Santa Barbara. That's more evidence. And then David is finally arrested 7 months after the body is found in April the 16th. And he would be charged with murder officially. We got Celeste.
Well, here's the thing is he did store her. He absolutely stored her somewhere. But when and how are the questions, and what did he do with her body after? All right. After he took her life. Now look at that. Look at the wound, the stab wounds. Those, if you look on the left side of the autopsy, those stab wounds on the front are just two clean stab wounds, two deep, clean stab wounds that she bled out from. Okay. Now you can see some of the things on the side where the fingers are gone and the parts that she was already dead for a while when he did that, because he didn't have chainsaws or anything yet. Right. All right. So, yeah, I mean, what did he do? What did he do with Celeste in between when he came back before he dismembered her? Does anyone think he's into like that? Maybe he did some kind of anything with her body, or I'm just wondering what the heck. I know, but if we don't talk about it, then it doesn't exist. And guys, this exists in Hollywood, especially.
Cause of death. After all of that, they already found it. We see David at hearing. There's a sketch of him, iconic sketch. him requesting his haircut and new clothes, probably heard me and Camel making fun of him and his awful hairstyle. But that's the full timeline as TMZ have broken it down. And I'm working on a sort of even bigger, more expanded timeline for a video on my main channel at the moment. And we're going to just break everything down once again with this new evidence, because it really tells a very sordid tale. When we had all these mysteries and he hadn't been arrested, there was so much benefit of the doubt that could be given to him, but that's all gone now. So I'm going to share with you a few other things, just a few reminders, a few interesting posts. A lot of people are dragging up that David's friend Asia knew about Celeste being a minor in 2024 and did nothing. We confirmed that this was a real conversation that happened, and people are saying, sadly, almost everyone knew and nobody said everything. Hey, look at this. David's friend knew. She responded to a post. She found out Celeste's real age and stayed quiet. This was 2 days after. And this is literally like a day before the police are coming to David's house to tell him she's a minor. She responds, said, bro, this is my friend's girlfriend. Is there a way you can confirm she's 13? She says, what the F, you're lying. But no, that's her. I would love to know what the conversation with David was like after that. Okay. People are saying, didn't she say she confronted David about it and he just showed her IDs? And that's apparently what she said. To be fair, she seemed confused. Maybe David really lied to her and she never thought her friend was a weirdo, but she continued to hang around with them both after the fact.
Yep.
She was killed over a year after this. She knew without a doubt Celeste was 14. She could have spoken up. She had an entire year. All of his goon team knew and did nothing. Horrible clout chasers and Nepo kids. At this point, I'm more focused on the criminal charges.
And yeah, that's exactly right. Clout chasers and these Nepo freaking kids. I don't want to get it. Now, Dark Skull Creatures, if they didn't arrest him, says, I bet he would have done it again to another young girl. Well, he already had started the process and what he calls put the seeds, laid the seeds down, or the foundation. All right. Now, he was already doing that to other young girls. But yes, he might have got bloodthirsty again on another young victim. He actually, when someone said that in chat a little bit ago about him really being thirsty or, whatever, wanting to kill, I believe that. I believe he fantasized about the kill, how he was going to do it, how he was going to cut up the body, what he was going to cut up, what he was going to do with the fingers. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. And he fantasized about it for years, in my opinion. Damn.
Against David, and if there were any co-conspirators. Honestly, I don't think going after a private citizen who by all means isn't famous will bring justice here. So there's pictures apparently of the actual chainsaw allegedly. This is being released by Steve Fisher, and I think this actually might well be the chainsaw that was used in the property. So it said David ordered 2 chainsaws. This was the one that was found in his garage. Damn. I wonder if he disposed of the one that he actually used. But he ordered 2. They were both delivered to his home on or around May the 5th. The DA stated Celeste was dismembered in a blue inflatable pool. They found several blue pieces of the pool on Celeste's body. They matched it.
And you guys, they say April 23rd of 2025. So what did David do? Now, I see FloJo and other followers saying he probably just put her in the car. But make that make sense to me. Make it make sense. Make it make sense that she was stabbed to death on April 23rd, 2025, and he didn't get the chainsaws delivered or any of the stuff that he needed delivered until around May 5th. You cannot fit in the front trunk of the car. All right. Now, not only did I look it up and see how big, etc. Of course, Jennifer Coffindoffer, she's pretty small. She tried to climb in there. She did climb in there, and she tried to go into a fetal position, and she would not fit. So tell me again what he did with her body between April 23rd and May 5th before he was able to cut her up and take pieces away. That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm asking too. Yes, that was a year ago today, just like the other day was a year ago that she was allegedly killed. So what did he do with her body between April 23rd and May 5th if it didn't fit in that trunk of the car? You tell me. I mean, I'm looking for FloJo's opinion because him and a couple people in chat are saying that she was in the car the whole time. But where? How? All right, let's continue.
with the pool that was found in David's garage. They also found one of the chainsaws, but didn't take it as evidence because SF found it in the garage along with an incinerator. My question is, why didn't the LAPD take it as evidence if they think the other one was used? Could this be the identical chainsaw that David used, or did he use two different chainsaws? Edit, if you look next to the chainsaw, there's a box on the floor and it's a different chainsaw. As one amazing Redditor pointed out, one chainsaw has a cord, the other is cordless. The photo shows evidence of two different chainsaws, but we don't know if the one in the box is the one David used and if the box is empty, and whether or not law enforcement didn't find the one used or if David got rid of it. The DA didn't mention the chainsaw used in her evidence, but that doesn't mean they don't have it. So that is an image of the chainsaw, and they're saying there's another one on the floor. Is that this box? That looks like another chainsaw box. So yeah, it is very crazy. It says they probably swabbed it for DNA, applied luminol to check for the presence of blood, and determined it wasn't used, so they just photographed it. It says, yes, but if you don't have the chainsaw that dismembered her, but you have an identical one which you purchased with the one he used, I would think the DA could still use it at trial to show the jury this is the chainsaw that looks like the one he used. They have the pool, but they don't have the murder weapon. I think this is evidence, but he brought it right after the death.
Well, I just want to fill in the pieces of where and what he did with her after he took her life. Where did he hide her entire body? Because we know he didn't have the chainsaws and the pool and all the stuff to take her apart, literally, until May 5th. Nor did he have the time because he was doing interviews and concerts. So that's why I ask what happened. Now, I heard there was a Dippin' Dots freezer in the house, and they asked, what is that for? Oh, he loves Dippin' Dots, but I don't think it was full of Dippin' Dots at the time, right? So that might be a piece of evidence in the case as well. What makes you think he won't do it again? Yeah, I think Asia absolutely is scared.
So it says one chainsaw on the burn cage was still in the package and wasn't used, so there's no point taking it for evidence. They just need to photograph them. But they took the pool because it was obviously ripped from being used and contained DNA. That needs to be sent to forensic labs for further testing.
Yeah.
My question is, did he really keep the pool? Like, why though? Make no mistake, David is definitely guilty of messing with that little girl, and I believe he killed her, but you can't be that stupid. Apparently he can. Keeping the Amazon wrappers with a fake name, buying chainsaws, shovels, and a burn cage with your cards. Like, I genuinely can't believe someone is that stupid, and it would be the point where his money is the only thing that could have saved him.
Yep.
So I agree, it is very stupid. You will see the second chainsaw box in the photo. It's a Makita 18-volt brushless 10 top handle chainsaw. It says that has to be the chainsaw he used to dismember her. That's the one they didn't find, only the box. He ordered two different chainsaws. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Now he did that in the garage that I showed you last time, and they actually found blood in there. So that being said, do we have two different crime scenes, so to speak? The first one where he stabbed her to death with the two major stab wounds, and then he put her body somewhere cool. This is my theory. Put her body somewhere cool where people wouldn't just go and see her body until he came back. And then at that time, when he got back, all the stuff was ordered and he was ready to go. Now, she couldn't be stashed in the car in the front trunk because her body wouldn't have fit in there. By the time law enforcement got her body, she only weighed 71 pounds, and it was her head and torso and her limbs, but big major pieces of her arms and legs were missing, and fingers. Wild Wanderer, thank you so much for the Guilty of Crime membership. If you receive that membership, please thank them. So he's trying to imply that this was, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Take a moment to appreciate absolutely how stupid David Burke turned out to be and how everything he tried to do went terribly wrong in the sense of deleting evidence. It took so long for them to charge him that I started to worry that he's some sort of mastermind and they weren't going to have enough evidence to prove he killed her. But this is all coming together wonderfully, and at this point, I don't really see him weaseling his way out.
Yeah.
What a great dude he is to leave so many clues just hanging around in his home in a car. Thanks so much, dummy. He is a moron. All right? I genuinely can't imagine a murder where anyone's incriminated themselves more than this. How is this dude even trying to plead guilty? So some people have actually been visiting and paying their respects to Celeste. This is footage of her actual gravesite. We did actually see videos and images of her funeral taking place several months ago.
May she rest in peace, everybody. Just Random Production says, hey, everyone. Well, hey, you back. I hope you're, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, all right? How's everybody feeling today? You guys doing okay? Everybody not too triggered? I know this is a rough topic, but you know, we won't be able to understand or comprehend this or see the red flags in the future if we don't see what happened now. I mean, this was just out in the open, guys. You got to admit, he was hiding in plain sight, which means he wasn't hiding anything. It was just all out there. All right. It was all out there for everybody to see.
But now it would appear that people have actually visited the gravesides. And, you know, it looks like it's been tended to quite well. There's fresh flowers on the grave, which is nice to see. But it is really, really sad that it's even got to this point. It says, hopefully everyone's mature and lets her rest peacefully. Her family doesn't need the grave becoming a tourist destination. It's always a concern in these situations with a parasocial society. Please, everyone, keep their distance from the grave. Be mature and respect her family. Now, everyone's still dunking on the family. I really don't like that. There's actually still a memorial set up to Celeste in Lake Elsinore, where she comes from too. A few people have actually gone to visit that recently as well. And again, I'm happy to see that this has been so well looked after. But it's just so sad that this even exists. Someone said, I just came back from Celeste Memorial at Lake Elsinore and saw the place she grew up. People she probably knew in person, her neighbors and all. Rest in peace, sweet angel. People saying.
So I'm glad you asked that question because it's been asked time and time again. Now, I don't have a deliberate answer for you, but what I can say is there's a possibility that there was video of what happened to Celeste. And I say that to say this. Had he done that in the garage, or had he done that somewhere else in the house where there were cameras, or he stabbed her outside, or what have you, we got dash cams, cams in the car, cams in the house, cams outside of the house. How the heck are they that specific to know that he stood above her and watched her bleed out? Then after he did that, put her somewhere, went on tour, did his radio interviews, came back, got all of his packages, dismembered her. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that they either have video, audio, or some kind of digital evidence. That's all I can think of. I cannot imagine how they would know that. Yeah, I mean, I think, remember, there's 50 terabytes, 10 of which they called CSAM. I don't know if it's a CSAM or it's just a 10 terabyte drive with CSAM. We'll find out.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing the Hello Kitty stuff because she loved Hello Kitty. It's just so sad. Love how it's growing and getting bigger with people bringing and making things for her. Yeah, it's just so sad to see, but I'm the silver lining is that it is a beautiful tribute to her. So a lot of people have been asking and spreading, kind of putting forward their theories. What on earth did David do with Celeste between the time she died and when he put her in the pool? Does anyone know or have any theories? People say my theory.
All right, let's talk a little bit about theory. Then we're going to hop into the serious, the full from 11 to what? There's a lot of stuff in there. What happened before all this? All right, so we're going to get into that. Good to see you guys here today. I can't believe we've been here an hour and a half already. Stood by could mean next room. Yeah, right. It could mean anything. It absolutely could mean almost anything. But with the digital evidence that he's left,
he hid her in the house somewhere, not really knowing what to do. So same here. He left 1.5 or so days after the murder for New York and doesn't come back for a week or so. He got home on April 29th or 30th. If her body had been at room temperature the whole time, the smell would have been pretty overwhelming. Then he posted decay a bunch of times from a burner account on the 30th and ordered 2 chainsaws on May the 1st. Okay. It's not been stated yet what the prosecution believes, but I believe that they've implied by omission of other info that he simply stored her somewhere inside the house or in the garage. I'm sure a cadaver dog would have pointed out the place or places that her body begun initial decomposition at the house. It's horrifying and sick to imagine dismembering a nearly 2-week-old decomposed body, even if it had been kept indoors in a regular air-conditioned environment. It's very messed up. I keep thinking he stored her in the bathroom and that's why he warned friends of the smell. So I think he did it in the bathtub at first and let her bleed out there. Bathtubs can never be cleaned from blood residue and neither can drains. He must have known that. I don't think he did. It said he would have needed to haul over 120 pounds of dead weight downstairs, potentially leaving blood trails all the way to the garage. That's when I thought after keeping the shower running for a while, he could have wrapped it in a body bag, then carried it with all that adrenaline and being afraid of being caught. People are stronger physically in that moment.
This is going to open up soon when we start to see the hearings and the preliminary hearings and the evidence that's coming to the defense. We're going to find this stuff out more than likely. PI Mama T says, doing my hair, you're making this so less painful. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, Tesla cameras. That's what I was thinking. The Tesla cameras caught it. But you guys, we're going to hear the evidence. They were in the house. All right. They were in his, what they call his rental house, mansion, whatever you want to call that. They were there and they collected lots of evidence. They did lots of the spray, to find blood. We just don't know about that yet. We just don't know. All right. But we will find out. And I think it was in the house somewhere or in the backyard. It was in the garage though. I saw someone say it couldn't have been in the garage because the neighbors. No, it was done in the garage. There's blood in the garage that dripped from the pool around it where he did that. He actually cut her up in the garage. All right. That is more than likely what happened. And we're going to find out what other areas had, blood saturation, etc. All right. Hello, Shadow. Good to see you, my friend. What did he do with her body for the week he was gone and between the time he got the pool to dismember her?
Someone's saying, I'm curious about this time period too. Over the course of nearly 2 weeks, a body would be bloated, leaking fluids, and actively decaying without being frozen, despite possibly having a freezer in the garage. The reports of an odor make it seem like that isn't the case. Does the bathroom where he mentioned the smell have a tub? Maybe he just had her in the garage or his car. She was certainly within the house. The amount of time that he had her remains in his possession throughout the entire process is disturbing. The smell would have been absolutely horrific. It's evil and grotesque. So as gross as it sounds, I think he was obsessed or attached to her and kept her very close after he killed her. Dude is sick and deranged. I think he kept her close before the pool and long after decomposition because he thought she was his. She wasn't, but I assume he has the same twisted mind and thought processes as others in history who kept the people they murdered. People are saying, I think it's way simpler than that. His album launched the very next day and he had a full schedule for that whole week. He flew to New York for a week, 2 days after the alleged murder. He probably hid her somewhere in the house. And when he came back from New York, he ordered his supplies and dismembered her as soon as he got them.
It just makes me wonder how you can hide somebody. Now, 2 days is a little bit better, but Flojo, didn't you say that he shared the house? Or are you talking about the other house? Because he had 2 rentals, right? Now, one of the rentals was the smaller one that they called the cottage, where he would take not only Celeste, but they say other young girls that he was graping to that house. Now, that was aside from the other house where we see the yep. Okay. Yeah, so the guys, I don't know if you guys even realize this. There's 2 houses. There's 2 different there's 2 different places where he would take Celeste or other children that he was doing this to. She's in her bedroom closet, first to hide her from the Rob guy who lived with them. Yeah, because he had to, but he wasn't in that house. He was in the little cottage house. Right? Or am I getting that wrong?
Right. It's crazy. So Steve Fisher, the private investigator, he's actually been doing some firsthand research on the trip to Santa Barbara. And basically he's kind of given an update on actually going over there.
His bed.
And breaking it down. So this is Steve Fisher's actively investigating the possible crime scene and dumping site locations of the SR-154 in Santa Barbara County. So this is what his tweet said. It said, on Friday, May the 1st, I spent the day in Santa Barbara County off SR-154 in the area where Celeste's passport card was found by a Caltrans worker. I captured high-resolution drone imagery of the area, and once I finish my current search mission in the Grand Canyon, I will process the imagery through the detection analysis programs we use. The area is covered by license plate readers, and the specific area where he appears to have pulled off the SR-154 has a gate that's closed from sunset to sunrise, so his car would have likely had to stay relatively close to SR-154. Yes. There are trails that lead down to the water, so someone could dispose of a chainsaw or other evidence there, given how small.
And again, guys, he went all the way down to, well, it's not that far, but he went to Santa Barbara there and back that night. I'm sure he was running on not just adrenaline, but we're talking about META chair as well, right? We're talking about the thing that hypes you up. All right. So they found one of the workers found her, was it her passport or something down there? So he probably did whatever he could with any of the evidence. I'm sure they may find more unless he just dumped it into the water. But guys, it's going to be really hard to clean a chainsaw off and to get everything off of it and from the area that he did that. Again, trigger warning, but this is it's beyond evil. It's beyond narcissistic. It's beyond psychopathic and it's beyond evil.
Small and weak David is, I do not believe a chainsaw or other heavy evidence would be far into the water. The water is clear and I was able to see several feet into it with a drone. I have a couple thousand high-resolution images from the area to process, and I've attached a few low-resolution preview images to give an idea of terrain. So he has taken very high-quality images from above, and he's actually going to be investigating and looking for additional evidence. So shout out to Steve. And people are pointing out he roasted David, saying, given how small and weak he is. People saying, why is he investigating still? I don't get it. I understand originally the landlord of David's house hired him to get info about what had happened in the house, but I think it's safe to say the police have it covered now, because I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, we're going to find out all this and we're going to say, oh, that makes sense now. We're just ahead of what they've put out, all right? David was desperate to hide the body because of his so-called tour. He lived with Rob in his main house where he was. This going on sounds like Rob not home time of her death. Yeah, he's an absolute monster. And wow, Duty Ron's in the house. Y'all probably already are subbed up to him, but Duty Ron, shout out to you. I hope your health is doing well, my friend. I definitely keep up on that. And this is what a homicidal maniac does. Evil walks among us. Thank you, Duty Ron, for the input. You're right. I mean, I couldn't say that any better.
As to why they hired him for specifically based on what SF has been doing. I guess it's hard to find out what happened in the house itself. Not going on a goose chase all over the place like this, but perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps they hired SF to find out everything to do with the case. They're saying SF is grasping for news. Now, he did share another theory on the murder, and I'm not going to lie. Shout out to SF. I like Steve, but this was dumb. This is one of the dumbest things I've seen posted by Steve in his tenure as a David investigator. He said, I can't stop thinking about the timeline of the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez as put forward in the pre-trial brief. Could the 10:30...
I'm going to fast forward this part because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. About 20 minutes drive into Santa Barbara. Now, it could have been somewhere else, right? We don't know because we haven't heard about large saturation pools of blood in the house, but I still don't think that it was done in the car down in Santa Barbara. Duty Ron, hello friends, always good to catch alive. You got it. I hope you're doing well. Prayers for you always, for no matter what. Just hey, much love to you, Duty Ron. Thank you for stopping by. All right, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that theory because I think it's just a conversation topic.
I commented this a few days ago and agree fully. What if they never find them? I feel like it's definitely a possibility, but we'll have to see if any more info comes out. Said, every time I see a theory about David, I get annoyed because I think it's too absurd. But then I remember everything he did to her and I realize nothing is too far.
Agreed. I think we could leave it at that. Nothing at this point is too far-fetched in this case to be unbelievable. Right? How about you guys? Like, nothing when I'm sitting there reading you guys some anime characters and eating literal mummified fingers. Who knew that existed? I didn't, because I don't watch anime, right? And I don't get into my headspace where, oh, if I eat mummified fingers, I'm gonna have power too, or what have you. Like, right? This is just his mind is definitely. He's got mental health issues. We know that. And needs a lot more development. Homicidal maniac. We're going to call him that.
Yep. And this alleged murder. We know that David is heading to court end of May 26th now, the preliminary hearing. The status conference is May 12th, but May 26th is going to be the big day. And the preliminary hearing is set to last 4 to 5 days, where the prosecution will lay out all of the evidence that they have. Sure. Now, in January 2022, guys, this when it was believed that David and Celeste actually met. They potentially were speaking online for more because we know that she was 11.
Now, I also want to interject for a second because you're right about the tarp. I absolutely believe that he probably used a tarp. I saw a video with one of his, I don't know if he's a creator friend or a singer, where his friend replicated the Dexter scene. You know, in Dexter, where Dexter puts all the clear, it's a tarp, like a clear tarp, and then kills them and wraps it up and takes it out. I think he did that too. Yes, let's take care of the children. Absolutely. Duty Ron says there are many people who were close to David that had knowledge of what he did, in my opinion, and they should all be locked up as well. And I agree with that. there's too many people and there are too many circumstances to make it unbelievable, but that these people didn't know. And first, we'll start off, didn't know about him being a pedo. When you look at that picture and you see Celeste, she's a little girl. This is a grown ass man. So if you didn't have the knowledge of, they knew that they had to have known that that was a forbidden relationship. Then on top of that, with the decomp smell, you get the decomposition and you're talking about pooping in the bathroom. What? How is that even? Wait, one more time. I'm going to show this and then we'll go back because, all right, this is essentially what he must have done the whole time. If May 1st, when he got all of his stuff, or May, whatever day he was, May 5th, when he dismembered her and did all that, what happened? How long was it out there at this time? Was this 4th of July? May, June, July? Was this 3 months out?
You put this in the back too?
Hold on, there's David. Yeah.
Unless you don't mind. Can you put...
Oh, his nails turned back.
You, bro.
Look at him.
Hacking, bro. Go yourself. I don't even get paid, guys. I'm not even getting paid for this bullshit, bro. This, bro. All y'all dead ass.
Oh. Now, do we make up? Yeah.
ABC. Oh,
yes,
yeah,
sir. I apologize in advance for the way my bathroom smelled. I took a shit around the I don't care. I just took a
Another one? Tired of shit. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yo, I had to go.
Look at Neo's face. I'm telling you, man, I think Neo and Asia absolutely knew to the fullest extent what happened, right? And it's so wild to watch the way Neo looks at David, all hearts and sparkles, but no girls do that. None of the girls ever do that. He's like one of the girls. David swears he can get away with raping minors because he's a so-called celebrity. Now, he might have gotten away with that had he not taken it to another level like he did. I told you guys, if she would have turned him in and let's say other people came forward as they're doing now, he probably would have got a slap on the wrist, unfortunately, my friends, because we know how that goes. But Celeste Rivas Hernandez would be alive.
When communication began, January 2022, David and Celeste met, and according to the brief by prosecutors on April 29th, David and Celeste first met when she was 11, and Celeste's former teacher in the video that we will see spoke about how he taught her at Lakeland Village in Lake Elsinore, and he claims the two met on social media. November 2023, their relationship turned intimate. The brief claims that David and Celeste began a relationship the following November when he was 18 and she was only 13. I do want to remind people that this isn't actually a relationship. It is grooming and it is the R word, because a minor cannot be in a relationship with an adult. And this in itself is very important for all of us to understand. The court documents don't elaborate on the accusations or
right. And I appreciate people spreading the right information. Even on Reddit, I saw people saying that you can't call this child P because you can't, it's only CSAM, right? Duty Ron, this child, Celeste, had many conversations with people who were in the circle and they all knew how young she was. Shame on them. If you see something, say something. Sad that money caused blurred vision. 110%. See something, say something, and do something. Better yet, these people said something probably, but they did nothing at all. And I think money, he paid them all off, guys. Thank you, Duty Round, for the comment. Flojo, thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker. Yeah, Duty Round's got it down. He knows what's up. But listen, I'm reading this also behind while he's talking on the screen, and dead body smell is something that law enforcement, anybody that's in that field or smelled decomp of a body will tell you how it smells and how you can never get it out. Now, somebody in the David Reddit yesterday posted about a dead body smell and how did no one report it. Now, this person says a deer was hit a block away from my neighborhood on the side of the road about a week ago. It is easily the worst smell I've ever encountered. And I used to live next to a crematorium, and it always had the smell of burning hair. The smell hit me in the face like a brick. You could smell it from a block away if you're downwind. While I'm sure the front trunk blocked most of the smell, it's unusual that absolutely no one walked past it in a 5-month span and noticed it. All right. So it's weird. People are saying in the preliminary hearing, they said he lied to his friends, business associates, and others who noticed the strong smell of decay. But you can lie all you want and say that, but I can't understand. I can't understand how they didn't smell that and realize it's something way beyond that. This person says, I'm not surprised that no one reported it, because why would you assume your friend has a dead body in their car? What's crazy is that he didn't even leave the car in front of his own house. He parked it in front of someone else's house a street over, right? I mean, this is, see something, say something, and do something, guys.
Say how prosecutors arrived to this, but the prosecution relayed that they began seeing each other in 2023. We all saw the live stream in January 2024 of David and Celeste together. You can see Celeste and David on a January 2024 live stream. They answer questions. She points, to a specific comment that David, might respond to, but they're basically on a stream together. In February 2024, a month after this live stream, or even less than a month, according to prosecution and their filings, Celeste's family reported her missing to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. The DA say the RCSD called David on February 17th because they found his number in Celeste's phone records. On the phone, David allegedly told authorities he had.
So, guys, now this explains why Celeste was a witness turned victim. All right, we now know this. We didn't know this before all this came out. What's up, Maggie? Good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Remember the neighbors were going to dig up their dead dog? I do not remember that, but I thought his Tesla would have still smelled when I found. Oh, you found it, and you didn't. I did see that. I saw you the other day. You showed the car. It didn't smell like anything, huh? I wonder if you opened it up, though, if there's any material in the trunk that smelled like it. Duty Ron says, I responded to a welfare check when I was a rookie. It was an elderly couple. Ooh, they were dead inside their apartment for 3 weeks. It took weeks to get that odor out of my nostrils. Thank you for saying that. I know that was probably terrible, and your rookie status went away right after that, my friend. Everybody says that. Every single person says they can't get that smell out of their nostrils no matter what. If it's not there, it could be days later, weeks later, and you still get that smell. There's so many red flags plus evidence that it's going to rot in his cot. Yeah, man, every single person says that about, and I don't want to know. I don't want to smell the decomp body or any of that. I couldn't be a medical examiner. I couldn't do any of that.
Hadn't spoken to Celeste since February 13th and claimed that he was unaware that she was missing, or he claimed that she didn't know that, Celeste was basically a minor, evidently lying to the police. That night, the LA County Sheriff's Department went to David's West Hollywood rental house, where he told them he only met Celeste in person once. The documents allege that during this visit, David showed deputies a yearbook photo of Celeste that he actually had on his phone. Why would he have this on his phone? February 19th, Celeste returns home. According to the brief, Celeste returned home to Lake Elsinore just 2 days after LA County deputies visited David's home. In notes that David told officers during the welfare check at his home that he didn't even know where Celeste was. February 2024, David is pursuing Celeste. David is actively pursuing and, per prosecution, giving students $1,000 to basically track her, give her a phone.
I mean, that's how bad it was, guys. When she would leave or they would break up, and law enforcement has all their text messages. I'm going to show you this real quick because I want you to see the Tesla that Flojo saw. You're in the area, I assume. You live kind of in the area. So anyway, look at the Tesla. I didn't even realize it looks all dented in the back, right? I did not realize that it looked like that. I didn't realize like it got rear-ended or they backed into something possibly. But yeah, there's the Tesla. We don't care about the trunk. It's the front trunk that we care about. I mean, this car looks like it's been used and abused. I know some people are like, how is he driving that special edition, whatever? This looks like a piece of junk to me. And every time I saw David, he looked pretty much like his car. Very uncleanly, right? So there's the car. Thank you for doing that. Thank you so much, Flojo, for sending me those pictures. I appreciate it. I would like to see the front trunk of the car. And yeah, her body got liquefied. There's fluids that come out of you as you die, and there's stages of death. Did you get a picture of the front at all? Like the front trunk? Because I'm not seeing that. There's a back. There's a back. There's a front. They wouldn't. Were you not able to get in on the other side of the car? Is that what happened? All right, let's continue. Someone bought it. That was gross. How much did they buy it for? I'm curious. It is disgusting, and it looks just like David always looks. David always looks like he smells. Sorry, not sorry.
Message her, contact her. RCSD and LASD informed David that she was a minor, allegedly, so therefore she knew this. And we can see, in pictures, basically interacting with a man holding a brown bag, but it's unclear if the picture is from an alleged visit. April 2024, Celeste is reported missing once again. According to prosecution, her family reported her missing just months after.
That would actually be really awesome, Duty Ron, if you send pictures of your front trunk or frunk. I hate even saying that, Duty Ron. Oh my goodness. But Jennifer Coffendorfer said she tried to get into a frunk and she couldn't. There's no way that she was going to fit. So people say multiple theories about why he dismembered Celeste. Anything from the fact that he was fantasizing about it to the fact that her whole body wouldn't fit in that front trunk. I hate saying frunk, but yeah, it's small. It's small. It wouldn't all fit there. So you couldn't just stuff her in there like that. Oh, may she rest in peace.
The last time that she had been missing. And throughout 2024, Celeste returned home, but during the remainder of this year, the LA County DA claims that Celeste was with David a lot throughout 2024, allegedly spending summer weekends at his Hollywood Hills home and taking trips with him to LA, Texas, London. The document specifies Celeste allegedly traveled to Texas to meet David's family. Now, this to me is intriguing, okay? Because if we look at the timeline, we can understand the fact that Celeste was missing quite frequently prior to Celeste traveling with David. Celeste, had her phone taken from her. They were putting up posters, Celeste's family, and Celeste.
It is pretty crazy, Sadie's mama. Good point. They haven't even got to any kind of trials or preliminary hearings. The defense doesn't even know what the prosecution has against them, and they sold the car. I mean, wouldn't it be helpful for people to have seen the cameras on the... Yeah, that's true. They do have cameras in the cars. Multiple cameras in the cars. Good night, Foxy. Thank you. Come back tomorrow. We'll see you. All right, LA County jail is no joke. It probably reeks full of disease and bad criminals. Well, I'm talking about David on the overall. Every time I see him, he just looks like he smells. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the way he grooms himself or what. But yeah, I do think Neo knew the most. And I do think there was some kind of love triangle going on. I like the prison with no lube for David. Hashtag no lube for David. I'm going to put
his family also phoned the police. So if all of this was happening, why would you then allow Celeste to travel with David to multiple geographical locations after you took action because she was missing, but also for David's parents to even allow an introduction between David and Celeste and, Celeste and the rest of David's family? Why would they also allow that as well? The incompetent behavior of Celeste and David's parents.
Now, see, this contradicts directly what I showed you in the very beginning. The first 45 minutes of this entire episode are what both families revealed. All right. Both families gave their statements hidden behind a lawyer. And what he's saying, what I've been saying, and what everyone's saying, they're denying. They're denying that they ever even met her. They're denying that they knew anything about her. Both families are denying ever meeting each other or knowing an age. How is that? How is that possible? That is why I believe they have a lawyer, because that can be you can directly arrest somebody for lying to an officer in a case like this. So get behind a lawyer if you're going to lie, because I'm not believing that none of them knew.
are highlighted when we look through a timeline of what went wrong and how everything basically took place, because she was missing and returned to the home, missing again and having issues here and there prior to her even traveling to London and multiple other locations, and she needs parental permission to travel as a minor with David. According to prosecution, there were texts between David and Celeste talking about how they were doing things that were intimate. There were texts between abortion, pregnancy, the use of Plan B, as we've seen, and also explicit photos. November 2024, David and Celeste basically broke up. The filing claims David and Celeste broke up in November 2024, but it did claim that they stayed in touch through alleged text. April 22nd, 2025, David and Celeste had a huge fight. According to the brief and the prosecution, text showed that they had a lengthy argument where Celeste was seemingly jealous that David had relationships with other women. The brief continues, claiming that Celeste threatened to disclose damaging information about her relationship with David and therefore ruining his career. And this is what I think was a motive for David to basically take her out. The day after, April 23rd, 2025, this was the likely day that Celeste passed away. 24 to 48 hours after Celeste threatened outing the relationship publicly and ruining David's career, when we know that this was the range when David was about to launch his album. He did not want any of this to therefore happen, and therefore his alter ego Itami took over and basically unalived her April 23rd, I believe. The filing state approximately 8:40 p.m. in the evening that David sent an Uber to bring Celeste from Lake Elsinore. At 10 p.m., Celeste was allegedly dropped off at David's Hollywood Hill home, 2-hour Uber roughly. The brief claims that very soon after her arrival, the singer immediately stabbed Celeste to death multiple times and stood by while she bled out. So this happened as soon as Celeste entered into the home, so therefore she wasn't even prepped for what was going on. The filing says that David did not attempt to save her, he just watched her basically bleed. At approximately 10:30 p.m., David sent text to Celeste.
Hey, Ron, I just sent you an email. Check it out. You and I have talked before. So I responded, or I just created an email thread that says, "Hey, Duty Ron, it's Jay from Guilty of Crime." All right. And there's my email address. You'll see it. It's going to come up right now. We've also texted each other before too. You're welcome to text me the images if you want. But yeah, you have my email and my number. I did not see the photos with his fam. There was no photos of his fam with Celeste. We talked about what the family's been talking about and the statements they made, and the fact that everybody has said that Celeste went to David's and met the family prior to all this, obviously. So there's no pictures of that, though. I didn't
asking where she was, and prosecution argued that this was a premeditated plan. At approximately 11:30 p.m., the brief says David texted and called Celeste to once again ask where she was as he left his home in his Tesla and allegedly drove north to Santa Barbara. April 24th, David returns from Santa Barbara. He drove home from Santa Barbara County, returned to LA, and went to a radio interview to plug his upcoming album and basically spoke about, how great this album was going to be. It also says he ordered a shovel from Home Depot. April 25th, David drops his album. Withered. This is his first studio album. April 26th, David stopped trying to contact Celeste. May the 1st, David is buying 2 chainsaws, according to the filing, and made it under the name Victoria Mendez. May the 5th, David buys body bags, heavy-duty laundry bags, inflatable pools. May 2025, David then goes to Santa Barbara once again.
Isn't that crazy how he was so specific on what he bought and even buying 2 of them? Thanks, Ron. I appreciate that. Show me a pic of your frunk. Maybe the creepiest thing you've ever said, Jay. Did I say that? Show me the pic. Show me a pic of your frunk. I did say that, didn't I? Don't quote me on that. Please don't quote me on that. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. All right, let's take a look. Guys, this does it for me. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Ron. Thank you. Look at the guys. So my buddy at work has a Tesla. He has a red Tesla that he's very proud of. And when we go get food or something, we'll put it up in the front trunk. But I got to tell you, I never look at the trunk. I never really pay attention to the size of it. Look at the size of the front trunk. I'm not even going to call it a front. And thank you, Ron. That is Ron's Tesla. That's a front trunk. Do you think that he could have stuck Celeste there in that trunk and left for a couple days, like just shoved her down there? And by the way, now I see there's no material down there, so you could hose it off or whatever if you needed to. It looks like there might be material there, but I mean, look at the proportion of the trunk. Look at the hat. If you see the proportion of the hat to the trunk. That's really small, guys. It's really small. Dang. Yes. Holy smallness. When Jennifer Coffendorfer said that she tried to get in the front of the trunk, I was imagining it a little bit bigger. There's a video of her entering backstage door when she's holding little sister's hand. Yep, I seen that one. And walking in. Yes, Caleb was next to her. So that's BS then. You're right. Next to the mom. Amen. All right. Now, tell me again if you think that she was in the front trunk before. I don't. I mean, I already don't, but that's tiny. Damn. All you could throw in there is some beer and throw in some ice and some beer. Dang. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what model that is. Ron, if you want to let us know what model that is. I think he had the Model X, didn't he? David. I don't know which one Ron has, but I can look up the difference. Let me continue.
David made 2 more trips to Santa Barbara. The first time it says he left his home. July 7th, 2025, David is buying a burn cage. The documents state that David made another purchase, this time ordering a burn cage, a portable outdoor incinerator. July 29th, David drives the Tesla for the last time. And according to the brief, surveillance footage and other evidence shows David was the last person to drive his Tesla 400 feet from his home before parking it. August 5th, David's tour begins. The Withered World Tour kicked off in Del Mar, California. September 8th, Celeste's body was found in David's Tesla. And according to the brief, her body was found dismembered in the front of a trunk, David's Tesla. Documents say the manager said they noticed a strong smell of decay and the presence of flies coming from the Tesla. The brief says detectives found a black body bag covered in insects, with also a left ring and pinky finger being amputated and also her eye. September 9th, David performs in Minnesota. He continues to perform despite the fact that the body has basically been found literally in
all right, let's see if Ron told us what the model was, because you're right, it's significantly Flojo. That is the Y, but I had an X as a loaner and it's not much bigger. Thank you for clarifying that, because I did look into it and it says that the Tesla Model X, it says it's significantly larger than the Y, but it's the volume that it changed. It's a cubic volume. It's 4.1 cubic feet on the Y, and the Model X is 6 to 7 cubic feet, but it depends on the model. And cubic feet, the way it's positioned, it makes a difference. It makes a difference if it's longer, deeper. I mean, that really matters. So, yeah, it says Model Y is 4.1 cubic feet, where Model X can be anywhere from 6 to 7, plus or minus 2 to 3 cubic feet. That's not a lot. None of that's even a lot. So there you go. Thank you, guys. Hey, we're digging deep today, right? And look at this guy. How much do you guys think he weighed wet and wearing boots? Anyone? 100 pounds, maybe 101.
A day before. September 16th, Celeste's body is officially identified. According to prosecutors, the body was positively identified as Celeste. Then September 17th, a search warrant was served at David's home. September 18th, he cancelled his tour. And September 19th, he pulled his bloody merch. December the 9th, her death was ruled an official homicide. And then in late 2025, we can see that David was dropped by his label. And on January 7th, Celeste's 2026, her passport was basically found, and on April 16th, 2026, David was officially arrested. So if we look at this timeline, all I see, we know that David is an absolute freak and the man deserves to go to jail, point blank, period. But all I can see is that incompetent parental guide is happening, especially from Celeste's side. What do you mean that Celeste has been missing multiple times?
Hey, I like these guys. I just found some of these creators with the David case. This is Murad Murali. And I don't see a problem with him. Someone came in the chat and was like, use a better source. Did I miss something about this guy? Because yeah, not cool to come in here and tell me what videos to play, unless, I mean, is this guy like a pedo and I don't know about it? A pedo talking about a pedo? Anyway. Or is it just a troll?
You took her phone. She's been missing multiple times. You're putting up posters everywhere. You contacted the police. Then after she returned home...
Oh, yes. Does it?
You allowed her to travel 12 hours directly to go to London and multiple other geographical locations. I don't know about you, but there are a lot of parents I know who, once they know their child is missing and they've contacted the police, they've put out posters, they're not going to let that child leave without their sight ever again, let alone get on a flight multiple times to be with David, and for the fact that there's an introduction going on here. Not only that, but after the multiple geographical locations that should never have happened, in what world was she allowed to get into a 2-hour Uber on her own as a minor to go even see David?
There you go. There, that backfires with the dad saying, "I've never met this guy before." Well, listen, sir, if you're gonna let your daughter go hours to, first of all, get in an Uber with somebody you don't know, all right, and then for the last 2 years you didn't meet him, that's your bad. 99 pounds when he's wet and wearing boots. Flojo says 125 and 5'5". Damn. Yeah, who's lying about what? I know. I'm like, is someone just coming in here being a troll? Hey, yeah. It actually says it says he's 5'9.5" and built slim, but they won't say exactly how much. Or actually, they do. They say 167.5. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. He put 5'9" and 167 pounds. Nope, don't believe it. Let's continue. That's a lie.
The timeline highlights how incompetent the parents are. And I'm sticking onto the parents because they could have prevented this. Despite how freakishly weird and stupid and idiotic David is and that he deserves to burn in hell, if the parents were competent, they could have saved their child. Regardless of how evil David is, they could have pulled their child away easily. Because if you're putting up posters and contacting the police, what do you mean that you are allowing your child as a minor to go and travel to geographical locations, multiple locations, and basically be introduced? What do you mean David's parents did not even give a damn and even said hello to Celeste and was basically introduced? The parents, both sides, could have saved and stopped this from all going on. Do you understand? Don't have children if you can't fully save them at any given moment of time, especially like this. And majority of parents would have easily solved the solution, in my humble opinion. If parents, majority of them are putting up posters.
I love that he's saying this. A lot of creators don't say this, and it needs to be said. If we're going to be sitting here for hours, right? Literally for hours. Wait, you missed something. Friendly heads up. I sent Flojo an Insta. Yeah, if you're gonna be sitting here for hours, you might as well let the parents know. Hey, do something better. Be better. Yeah, I heard that this guy was trafficked, and I didn't know about that, but I've heard he was a good guy. And I mean, I've been watching his content, and I don't see anything wrong. I do have the let me press play, and then I'll pull up the the Model X Tesla and show you.
The child then came home. The parents ain't going to let that damn child move around and fly across the world with a man like David. And throughout 2024, prior even to her flying, she still was seeing David many a times. You know that this girl was missing, but yet for some reason, she's allowed to leave the home multiple times. And I keep saying allowed because yes, the parents might not know that she's going and she sneaks out, but she's under your home, under your four walls, where you are paying the goddamn bills, and you're trying to tell me that you didn't have any understanding or ideation or whereabouts of where that she was going.
Amen.
Throughout 2024, they had a great relationship, apparently, unfortunately, because they were clearly together. Great relationship from David's terms because he clearly had so much control over her. Even when they were doing a live stream together, bro, the people in the live stream are telling me that he's sitting there with a minor. You don't know what's gonna go, you don't know what's gonna happen. She returned home on February 19th. She went missing again, April 2024. She then returned back. The same year that she was missing, months after she was missing, she's now flying around with the man. When you look...
Yeah, how is that even possible for them to make the stance that they did everything they could? They took her phone away? That was everything they could do? But yet they got her a passport and she was able to travel being seen in very public places? What? I don't believe it. All right. Yeah, we got some trolls up in here. Definitely got some trolls up in here. Mods, watch out for the trolls. This case is about Celeste Rivas Hernandez and David. All right. This is a real case about real people. All right. So don't come in chat and do that, or you're just going to be kicked out. People think that. People are talking about sacrifices and stuff. I don't know about any of that, but Let's continue.
Look at the timeline. It really fucks you up because that is crazy to me. April 2024, there were posters of her missing. Then later on that year, months after, the parents are okay, clearly, with her flying around with David.
Unbelievable.
A day before they were fighting, and Celeste said, I want to reveal everything because you're clearly dating other girls. A day before. Then after that, David calls her to the house and immediately takes her life. Immediately takes her life. The man is going on tour after. The man is doing album interviews afterward. He doesn't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn. And he clearly did all that because he knew that even David's parents didn't give a damn. Because clearly, if her life was basically taken April 23rd, right? April 23rd, her life was taken. What was going on for the family between April 23rd to August 5th?
Exactly. And then you keep going and you've got April 23rd to August 5th. And then September, October, November, December. I mean, it was, 7 months that she was allegedly missing from between the time that she was actually, they said she was missing and she died. What was going on? Why wasn't there any people? Why weren't the family on the TV saying, bring my daughter home? We've seen her with David. Whatever. They didn't do anything. He threw a party the next day. Let me show you the X, and thank you again, Ron. Ron sent me the Model X Tesla. Let me show you the difference. I mean, you can't really tell. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to tell cubic feet, but look at the trunk. It looks a bit wider. It's hard to tell in the depth because it's so dark. But when you look at that compared to that, it looks like they took the area around it and they gave that area of the trunk. Look at the difference. They've got some black thing covering up something here. So essentially it's a little bit bigger, 2 cubic feet, maybe 3, which isn't much. So that's Model X. That's the same one that David was driving that you got pictures of. Yeah, she was actually not missing. You're 110% correct. I've been saying that the whole time. She was never missing. And nobody ever went out and looked for her. No one did a search. David never said a word about anything. He never said, may she rest in peace. I met that girl once or whatever. He never said anything.
Where David clearly lived a normal life for those couple months, even went on tour for a whole month. Everything was fine. And therefore, she was missing again for 5-6 months, effectively dead at that moment of time. But what were the parents doing then if she's basically been missing with no contact for 5-6 months? Were they putting up posters then? The prosecution aren't saying that. The prosecution are not talking about how the parents were doing X, Y, Z. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'd be very happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. This is why it's always important for highlighting incompetent behavior from the parents. Always. Always. And I hear people say, oh, but why are you doing that? Because we're talking about a minor in body bags in a fucking car who was killed, for goodness sake. For goodness sake. We're not talking about, oh, David was saying.
Hey, this solidifies my connection with this creator even more. Or I don't know this guy. I just found him reporting on David, but he's passionate about what he does. He's been trafficked and he's letting him have it. He's like, what any of us are thinking is what he's saying. Why did they let the 11-year-old little girl have that whole year to even be groomed? Number one. Number two, when they finally did meet, how did they allow her to go on the Uber, go on a private jet, go to Paris, go to Vegas, go to Texas? Come on, man. That's not adding up. She's only missing when the parents were worried. And you know what? Rumor has it the only reason that the parents actually called law enforcement to tell them that she was missing was because the school threatened to lock them up. And schools do that nowadays. If you miss 3 days and the year starts, they start sending letters home because they're not getting their money. So the parents did call law enforcement and they did reach out to David's manager, but they never did anything past that. Yeah, they do. Definitely. I will never do that. And I will not sell my soul to the devil. These people sell their soul to the devil. No, thank you.
Minor, the relationship ended. Celeste is peacefully at home. No, she was in body bags with insects covered all over her and was bled out and basically chopped up. For goodness sake, we need to talk about parent incompetent behavior 24/7 because we're talking about a minor who's died. Somebody's died here. Do you understand? We can give grace and compassion to the parents, but we can simultaneously talk about how pathetic the parenting was here when we look at the timeline. When we do a timeline video, now we realize, like, you know, for me, it's like, damn.
Yeah.
David's parents knew exactly what this man was doing, talking about transferring the deed, talking about, you know, Celeste was introduced to them. They knew, and the police even came to David's house. They knew exactly what was going on as well. Those parents are...
They certainly did transfer the deed because they knew he was going to get arrested. All right. I mean, all of this stuff. Were the parents more concerned? I think the siblings were more concerned than the parents, in all honesty. All right. The brother knew where she went. Celeste's brother, Matthew, knew where she went. I bet you the parents didn't know where she went or even when she went. I mean, that's right. They do, but we still have to do better. We still have to do better as parents. We have to do better than what happened to Celeste.
Just as incompetent, in my humble opinion. And they also need to come at the front and stay at the goddamn front. Do you understand? This trial, if it goes to trial, is going to, you know, talk about and expose a lot. People are talking about how David might, you know, be taking a plea deal. You need to be offered a plea deal to take it. Okay? If the prosecution have so much evidence, why would they be offering David a plea deal when they can take this to court and actually run this man and expose him and get a high sentence?
No, they're saying that he is innocent. They've made a public statement through their attorney and filed several documents so that they don't have to talk and to make sure that you all know that they think he's innocent. All right. Damn, they know damn well he's not. They met her, and that's a lie.
I don't think that this is going to be a plea deal. I think that this will go to trial, but we'll see what happens when it happens. But anyway, this was the timeline video. This was meant to be a lot more shorter, but I ended up going off on a tangent and basically losing my mind as far as I'm concerned, because now I'm pissed off because the parents could have done a lot more, missing multiple times.
That's what I'm saying. She went to a movie is what she told her brother. Her brother's the one that said that because the parents don't speak English so well. What movie did she go to? What time? What movie was it? What movie theater? So she just walked out of the house and said, I'm going to a movie, with no details. If my daughter was running away and I had to sleep in her room, go to school with her and stay there all day, I would do whatever to keep her home. Exactly, Mom. Exactly. 110%, Mama Pearl. You don't have kids then if you're going to do this.
Multiple times missing. The same year, April, she was missing again, and you're putting up posters of her missing. And then later on that year, she's with him again, flying to...
He actually is 5'5", 125 pounds. Cat's here. I just looked at his arrest, and on the arrest, it shows his height as 5'5" and his weight as 125 pounds. However, the information that he put out to the internet was that he was 5'9", 165 pounds. Because, right, that's kind of embarrassing when you're a dude and you're that size. Like, apparently he was embarrassed. I heard that too. You put an apple. I heard somebody say they'd make their kids swallow an apple tag or something like that. And even David and Celeste were saying, if I want to find you, I'm going to make you swallow an apple tag so I can find you anytime I want to.
London.
That's funny.
That same year, he's given money to classmates to track her, even though you've taken a phone. So the parents are trying to do something, but then for some unknown reason, after they take the phone, after they put up the posters, they then immediately become relaxed.
With his hair.
They take the phone. He's now going to the classmates. Cool. Then she goes missing again. Then the parents put up posters. Then the parents phone the police. They're taking all of this active response. They seem to be quite, heavy on trying to find their daughter and make sure that everything's okay. Then suddenly, after all of that, from the first quarter of 2024 to the second and third quarter, she's, with the man, traveling with him everywhere. The relationship apparently grows a lot more than it needs to be. What changed from the parents? This is why there seems to be a conversation from everybody about perhaps there are hidden payments. Because if he's paying the classmates, perhaps he's paying. We know that Celeste's father has come out to say otherwise, but we can agree that the way the parents have moved immediately does a 180 and they change. They're protective. They're taking the phone. They're phoning the police. They're putting up posters. Then the next quarter of the year, she's in London with him.
Right. How is that possible? Now, Mercedes, I'm going to read your comment. Please read. They were not responsible parents. This child had a hard life. The cousin knew where she was. Her cousin would go on outings with David and Celeste. It was all about the money. And I agree. I say that. But in the beginning, I read to you the statements from both sides of the family that both deny anything and everything. Thank you. I did know that Celeste had ran away way before David. She also had an alleged ex-boyfriend, and she was being raped by Gus. So when she was running away because she was already getting raped by, I don't know how old Gus is, but graping is graping. His alter ego did it. He was ego famous, and whatever reason, now David did. Well, yeah, we talked about it, Tommy. David's own brother, yes, he did. David's own brother distanced himself from him because he knew as well. I am more worried about the little sister and why the fuck did he have to use her closet to create music? Oh, use your own pedo. That's true. Damn. Very true, Ron. I didn't even think of it that way. What was happening to David's little sister? Right? And I didn't even, hey, that's the mind of law enforcement your whole life, right? Damn, I didn't even think of that.
She's traveling around with him. Not even that. Even whilst they were in LA, she was continuously seeing him in 2024. But why would you even let her leave to go and do things when you know that she's continuously missing? And you know that David's involved because the RCSD confirmed that David was basically involved with seeing her, and etc. And they were on live stream together, etc. So the parents know that David is involved with Celeste. At that moment of time, the parents already know. And then she's out here flying around with him. And you're telling me the parents don't know that? Are you dumb? This is pissing me off. Are you crazy? This is what I mean when I mean by parent incompetent behavior, because the parents knew that there was a relationship between these two. And the fact that you even know and letting a relationship run between Celeste, a minor, your daughter, and David, a grown man, is absolutely diabolical within itself. Do you understand? So this is why the more you look at the timeline, the more it really just wakes you up and pushes you off, because all of this could have been prevented. This is where my anger is coming from. All of this could have been, my frustration, is that it could have been prevented. It could have been easily stopped and tracked. Oh, yeah, it's difficult when a child sneaks out and you don't know where a child's going. But don't piss me off. You can definitely control your child 110% if you wanted to.
And if you can't control your child, you call law enforcement and you say they need to go to juvenile hall. They don't want to stay home. They want to find out what it's like to not follow the laws. Now, as much as I would hate to do that, guys, I would much rather have that done and know that I tried to do something than to just be like, well, how much can I get paid this week for it? Okay, no problem. Jay, I sent you the video. David height. I have to get back to class. It's supposed to be done. Thank you. Appreciate that, Foxy. I did. I got a couple of things talking about his height, and it's been two. Oh my God. What? You know what? How tall is David? All right, we'll look at that. Let's finish this and then we'll look at that because I want to laugh.
You put cameras around everywhere to make sure everything. Phone the police 24/7 and take not only your child's phone, but be with your child 24/7.
Yep.
A family,
Amen,
a village,
brother.
people to look after your child 24/7. Ain't no way she should be going on 2-hour Uber trips to go see David continuously throughout 2024. Nope. Ain't no goddamn way. Okay, this man is a demon. Whew. Okay.
I'm gonna leave it off on that. This man is a demon. Amen. Amen. All right, I'm gonna let me show you his height. Well, that'll be kind of a palate cleanser because whoa, I mean, rightfully so. I gave you the statements. I knew they were a lie. Both sides are lying, and they got lawyers. All right, look at this. How tall is David? All right, we're gonna palate cleanse just a little bit to laugh at him. Please do say a prayer that Celeste Rivas Hernandez gets the justice she deserves. She didn't get justice in her life. Justice would have been stopping her from being raped by Gus. Justice would have been holding him accountable and getting her therapy and making sure she's okay. It doesn't mean throw her in the room and let her go on the internet to let anybody and everybody in. You can put your own children on probation. Just go to the police station and ask how they can put an ankle bracelet on your child per your parent. There you go. Whatever you got to do. You can't control your child. You can't control your child. You get a pins person in need of supervision, a warrant from law enforcement. Thank you, Duty Ron. So there you go. You can get a pins for your child. If you can't control them, you get a person in need of supervision warrant from law enforcement. So anybody else, like, I mean, I'm not going to say who I'm texting with right now, but I'm texting with somebody right now that has a grown child that is basically have mental health issues. And when they do things like whatever that's against the law or they can't control them, guess what? You call them, you call it in. It's better than finding your daughter dismembered and pieces missing, all right? In October of 2023, Esmeralda's mom took both Celeste and Esmeralda to one of his shows. See, they're lying. They're completely lying, 110%. Hey, Arting with Lynn, how are you? Good to see you, my friend. All right, let's take a look at how tall David is, and then we can, do whatever. We still have 300 people in chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Over 1,000 of you have summoned me. Let's find your real height. I decided to find his height using this chair. Then I found the exact model of the height of 29 inches. By analyzing the floor angles and pixel heights within the camera works, determining that David is 2.3 stools tall. Multiply 29 by this number, check 1.8 inches from his platforms. Then I found the exact model, check 0.06 for socks, get 64.9 inches, which is 64.7 centimeters, or 5'4" and 27/32 of an inch in freedom units.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how constipated are
Did you guys just see that? He's 5'5" based on the chair and the height of it. And really, it's funny though. It is funny. He puts out his size as 5'9", but when he gets arrested, he puts it out as 5'5", which matches with that 125 pounds. Cat Sear, welcome to the crime crew. You say, I just subbed and liked. This is great. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Remy says he's a little elf. I agree. He's going to be somebody's little elf in jail, in prison. Yep, they won't just put your child in an ankle monitor or juvie. The child has to be well, here's what I'm saying. It's breaking the law when your child runs away 11 times. Celeste allegedly ran away 11 times even before meeting David. That's breaking the law. She's breaking the law because she's not going to school. You're sending her to school and she's not going. So you tell the school, I tried to get her to go to school and she won't listen. You got to hold her accountable, right? I always thought he was 4'11". That's what he put. I swear he put 5'9", man. He's 4'9". All right, watch it one more time. And I got to thank you guys for everything. Good night, JN community. Time for bed for this old man. Hey, brother, good night. It's 9:30. At 9:30, I go to bed too. You guys say goodnight to Duty Ron and send prayers just because. Thanks for stopping by, man. I do appreciate that. All right, let's continue. It's always a pleasure to see Duty Ron. Prayers, always. Prayers. All right, this is funny. Let's watch it one more time. You can put David in your pocket.
you right now?
Over 1,000 of you have summoned me. Let's find your real height. I decided to find his height using this chair. Then I found the exact model, the height of 29 inches. By analyzing the floor angles and pixel heights within the camera works, determining that David is 2.3 stools tall. Multiply 29 by this number, check 1.8 inches from his platforms. Then I found the exact model, check 0.06 for socks, get 64.9 inches, which is 64.7 centimeters, or 5'4" and 27/32 of an inch in freedom units.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how
Oh, man, you gotta love that, man. You gotta love that. You know what? Real quick, I want to show you D4vd. I want to show you the Reddit, the David Reddit that he was moderating and deleting. Chainsaw was 10 pounds. I believe it. He's tiny. He's tiny, guys. And the weight of the chainsaw found in the box was 7.2. No, they were small chainsaws. Good night, Duty Ron. Prayers and tell Ed we say hello. I really love listening to Ed and Duty Ron. Man, Ed's got all the everything. He knows everything about forensics and homicide. He's probably 5'4" and You know, it doesn't matter how tall you are. It matters who you are and how you act. And this guy's a demon, straight up. He's gonna be a demon when he's in prison. Welcome to the rest of the club with all the demons. All right, so take a look. I want to show you something real quick about the David Reddit. We don't normally do Reddit much on here. Pocket size Hello Kitty. We don't particularly come to Reddit, but lately we've been getting into these cases that a lot of info comes out from that area and people connected to the case. So look at this. Here's the David 2 community. This is the one we've been looking at. This someone else is running it after. This is the main David subreddit, and it's dedicated to, I believe, Celeste and the whole cause. Now, when you look at the R and then just the regular Reddit thread with David, this was what David was running, not the David idiots, but the David. Hold on, let me go to that one. This is the one that they say that he was running himself and deleting. So I'm saying that to say this. This community is dedicated to a 20-year-old singer and songwriter. He was actually modding this himself and deleting stuff. Look at the time frame on there. We just went through a whole time frame 8 months ago. It says, don't worry. I just spent 30 minutes of my life writing an essay directly to David. He'll surely see it, right? 8 months ago. Why hasn't he been arrested? And it's a discussion about David. Technically, he's only considered a person of interest at this point in time, which is obviously angering considering the body that was found in the car was registered in his name. However, according to law, being a person of interest has no legal meaning and doesn't grant law enforcement authority to make an arrest. All right. So this is his Reddit group that he was modding. He deleted everything to he and whoever else he had deleting everything. Look at that. 8 months ago. These YouTube channels are low-key getting annoying. They're regurgitating the same info posted on Reddit. David changed his bio from an alt to 8 months ago, right? And this, oh my God, I forgot to tell you guys about this. Did you guys know that the rumor has it that that she did? Thank you so much, Ron. Justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Prayers to you. Did you guys know that they did speculate that David and Celeste that she was pregnant and they announced the birth of a baby, but then she ended up getting an abortion or something? I don't know if anybody else saw that, but I was reading this Reddit thread earlier and they were showing these things like deleted user, right? It's not there anymore. I will abort the child. And then Mock says, who do you live with currently? And then I guess alone. I don't know if this is coming from David or who, but let me look at the notes. All right. All deleted users. Okay, so the people that deleted the users have the same user ID, and we don't know who's posting it from where. We just know it's deleted. You can still see old posts, messages from deleted users in Discord, and one that people are sharing screenshots is the same deleted user account that had a photo of Celeste's hand tattoo and the ring from a long time ago. So while you can't see who the account belongs to, you can see the correlating posts that are speculated to be from Celeste. All right. So that's how I was reading this stuff. I'm like, dang, really? I mean, that was a rumor that was going around and everybody knew about it, guys. Everybody knew about it. They were, they were like, oh yeah, we're having a baby. They announced it. It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. He is. All right, guys, I'm going to get off of this thing now. We've been here for 2 hours and 37 minutes, and I appreciate you for every minute and every second of your time. You saw these months ago. Yeah, I didn't. I don't normally do Reddit. And I didn't get into this case too far because there was nothing coming from law enforcement. I try to stick to like the news. And then when I find the news, then I can correlate things that happened during it and we can speculate, right? But I don't, they are definitely gold. I agree, Flojo. 110%. during the Madeline Soto time, I didn't have such a good luck with Reddit, but now it's like there's some really good information. All right, good night, guys. Miss Dizzle, positive vibes. Mama Pearl, love you. Mercedes, much love, thank you. Kristen Perry, thank you. Much love. CrimeCon 2026, y'all. All right. Yeah, don't drive and text, my friend Gigi. Sadie's mama, big hug to you. We love you. You are our friend like family, all right? You don't need anything. You just need to show up for us. You just finished your hair. Perfect timing. PI mama, I better see you back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. You got it? Yeah. See, she said yeah. PI mama. Thank you guys. Love you all. Damn, Flojo, he's killing it. Thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. And if you didn't know, Flojo, I was on Duty Ron's channel once or maybe twice. I got I was on the actual show, so I got some of his followers over here. So let's get that for Flojo. Go over and sub up to this man, Flojo. Love it. I love his voice. It's soothing. His content's good. It's just great. All right, guys. Good night. Love you all. I knew a girl named Mercedes at one time. All right, love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 4 o'clock, aka 7 o'clock. No, you got to be here tomorrow, PI Mama. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. I can't even say it without laughing, but good night, y'all. Come back. If you're new, come back. Love you. See you guys tomorrow.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?